Who's still rocking? Who's still rocking? Hit the link. Kyle done went to sleep. I'm up on the boards. Who want it? We're gonna keep it up for a little bit, see who come in here. Anybody can come in, man. Hit the link. Hit the link. Hit the link in the chat. It's up there. Mark Nash, what's going on with you, Mark Nash?
What up, fool? How you?
Man, doing good. We on CPT time tonight.
Shit, y'all past CP time. Boy, what the hell is going on, man? What happened to Kyle?
Man, that fool didn't went to sleep.
Good night.
He been working too hard.
Oh man, it be like that sometimes.
Yeah, he been working too hard. I was gonna be on right when that 12:30 hit, but I had to go pick my lady up from the airport. Man, highway patrols was out. I was about to play with them, trying to go
Yeah.
on from the phone and all that.
You in Vegas or LA?
Oh,
Cali.
I'm in Cali.
Yeah, Cali boy. Yeah. I was watching this high speed chase over there in Cali. This motherfucker got away too over there by LAX. They couldn't find him.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Man, when I was on my way home tonight, I saw about 5 highway patrols smashed by. So it sounds like something going on right now.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited, bro. Your boy over here making some moves. Boy, I got a couple of interviews scheduled, man.
Oh
For the
yeah,
next couple. Hell yeah, man. I don't want to. I ain't got it scheduled, but they said yes though, which
that's
is
what's
good.
up. That's what's up.
You know what I'm
Congrats.
saying? I got a Grammy nominated producer. I got another super middleweight champion supposed to pull up, and somebody who challenged for a title. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? But they all pretty much they said yes. You know what I'm saying? It was like, just let me know when. I'm like, shit, you let me know when, nigga.
Man, look, you just got to send
And
them a date.
my wife was like, nah, don't say that.
Yeah, you
When
just send them a date. Like, all right,
yeah,
this
like,
this for
look,
you.
Saturday, 3:00. I'm gonna send you the link.
You're highly anticipated. We just going live. David from NYC. Why you ignoring me? Where you from, cuz? I'm from the Bay. I live in Oakland, from Vallejo. Man. But you could get your boy in here. I seen you say something. Just tell him to hit the chat.
Who?
David from NYC. He said something
Oh,
earlier about getting somebody in here.
yeah, man. Did you get a chance to see any of those any of that David Benavidez interview I did?
Man, nah, I haven't been tuned in. I've been in Costa Rica for the past 7 days. So I
Oh
was
man, you went and got your body done?
yeah, just a little getaway. Just a little getaway.
I ain't mad at you, bro. I ain't mad at you. How long you was gone for?
I was gone for 7 days. I
Oh,
left.
so that last time I talked to you, you left then.
Yep. I was on my way to the airport down there.
I thought you looked like you was in the airport when I was looking at you on the phone there, though.
Yeah, no, I was actually in the grocery store, but the next day I damn near left. I left that Tuesday. So after that week, I think that we might have talked on maybe a Thursday or a Friday when we was doing that. What was it?
Sound like that. That sound about right.
Yeah. I left last Tuesday and got back this past Tuesday.
Hell yeah, bro. I've been on the hot. I can tell you about the producer though. You ever heard? It's a gospel song. It's a big gospel song. It was like, won't he do it? You ever heard that song? Or people be saying, won't he do it?
I heard the phrase though.
Yeah, my boy produced that. And he did that Young Dro TikTok. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that Young Dro song called TikTok. So he produced that. He got a lot of joints. He got a plaque for that YG album. He produced on that YG album. What's it like? My Brazy Life or something like that. What's his first album?
My Brazy Life.
Yeah, he got a plaque for that shit, man.
Oh no shit. That's what's up.
Yeah, man. So he gonna come on the show. That shit is gonna be super dope. I'm gonna try to get that done on Saturday or Sunday. I don't think I'm gonna do it live though. I think I'm gonna pre-record it. And then I'll drop it like when I do my live, like, yo, just be like, yo, this it right here.
Yeah. It's gonna be cool either way. Yeah, I like those type of interviews.
Yeah, like, hey, last week I got a chance to sit down with such and such, and then you play the interview during the live show, and then you come back and see what people think about it right then. And yeah, I'm super excited, man. About the future, man. The show growing mad fast, man. And I appreciate y'all letting me come over here and sprinkle some of Mama's cooking.
Man, hey, he been going crazy.
Yo, what you think of that though, man? You think he got a point?
How you say that? Matthias Vera, Mark Nash. Look at Mark Nash on YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check that David Benavidez interview out myself.
I got it timestamped too, so it'll be easy to go through. You can find each spots, but he definitely want that Charlo smoke. Said he was like Charlo pretty much ducking, talking about I gotta get a vaccination or I'm too young. He was like, but you call my name out. He said, don't say my name and I'll leave you alone. I'll stop messing with him. I was like, oh, he sound like he bullying him.
Man, at this point.
Yeah, then he was like, yeah, but they asked him who he want more, Charlo or Caleb Plant or Andre or something like that. He said, I want Caleb Plant the most. I think that knockout is gonna be more devastating. I was like, talk your shit, David. David said, I'm gonna have him shaking on the pavement.
Man, say that.
Yeah,
I see that. Especially they talking like that. David from NYC, I'm in the East. Dawson on Southpaw beating up a Contender fan in Richmond. I don't know who Southpaw is. And I'm not tripping off anybody getting beat up. That ain't one of my partners.
Man, what are you talking about? Somebody get beat up?
I don't know.
Damn, we had to delete all his messages. He was in there wilding like that?
I didn't delete nothing. Somebody ain't messing with it.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to look at him now. Like, what the hell is he talking about? He said, bring Southpaw. I don't know what he's talking about. But yeah, man, super excited about Kwame Brown's reply. Did you hear? And I like what he's doing out here. You think he got a valid point? He said the system was set up against him and to keep people from coming out of high school. He said 5 people came out in his draft. The next year was going to be 10 to 15. You know what I'm saying? So
I do remember that happening for sure when they stopped doing a little shutout of high school for a minute.
Had to be one and done.
Yep. So I mean, I haven't really seen everything, but I agree with him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Kwame Brown been the butt of the jokes for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And I just find it ironic though that like he does have a point. He's like, why me? Why was Stephen A. Smith going to high schools telling people to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, going to colleges, on tour, going to colleges, telling colleges, hey, don't be like Kwame Brown. But they don't say the good things like, hey man, I broke a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? I moved my mother on a golf course at 17 years old. You know what I'm saying? Y'all saying I'm a bust, but I worked the job for 13 years.
Thanks.
You can't be, how bad can you be? Like, it's a reason why people kept signing him. Why not say those GMs were bad? Why not say Jordan did a bad job with his number 1 pick? Why put it all on, hey, you're a bust? My man, I made $65 million in my career. I can't be a bust.
Can't.
Come on, bro. Some people work their whole life, man, and their whole family, add them all up, generations. From your great granddaddy up to now, y'all ain't made $65 million.
That's fact.
The man is retired. You know what I'm saying? He's a young retired man. I don't even think he's 48. He might be like 38, 39, 40, something like that. Young man, retired. And when you see him, I'm like, man, y'all better leave Kwame alone, man. Kwame Brown up here. Yo, that's crazy. I don't know what that sound was. Yo, that shit was loud as hell, bro.
Oh, my fault. That was a couch. I just moved my laptop on it. My bad, bro.
I was like, nigga, you got the plastic on your couch? Like the 80s?
Nah, that's leather joint.
Oh, man, I hated them leather couches. I won't do that no more. You fall asleep up there, your whole back wet, and you wake up, and you cold.
You never lied.
Bro, it look good when people walk in, like, okay, yeah, got the little leather couch. Fall asleep on that motherfucker, man. Back gonna be sweaty, cold, like them old Avirex jackets.
It's not for the weak-hearted at all.
Yeah, man. But what they said in the chat, Kwame has a good point. Like a sharp needle. Somebody says, shit, if he's a buzz doing all that I need to make all the money and accomplish half what he right, man. Like, keep in mind, Stephen A. Smith tried to play basketball.
Right.
And that shit come across like slick hate to me, man. Like, say what you want to, but you only can you talking crazy about people who doing something that you tried to do and didn't accomplish it.
Right.
So now you become a media personality. Nothing wrong with that, but have some fucking respect, man. Like he said, you talking about somebody's son, talking about somebody's father, somebody's brother, and he the best thing that ever happened to their life. You get what I'm saying? They'll die and kill for him, bro, because he changed so much in the family. So it should always blow my mind like that. Because success is all about, in my opinion, success is about perception sometimes, Cam. Like, compared to who? I think Jalen Rose said it best. He's like, is he a scrub compared to Shaquille O'Neal? Yeah, maybe. He's like, but I'm a scrub compared to Magic Johnson. Jalen Rose, yeah, he ain't won nothing. He never won the big one in college, never won the big one in the NBA. But nobody can deny he can play, the game. But he never won nothing. No disrespect, but he said this out of his own mouth.
Right.
And with that said, compared to Magic Johnson, Kobe, LeBron, D Wade, yeah, they would say Jalen. Some people would say Jalen Rose is a scrub. So we're all gonna have our naysayers. But when you trying to constantly target an individual, it might come across as personal.
Facts.
Yeah, man. But
that's some great points. That's some great points. Because it depends where you start from, man.
1,000,000%. I remember hearing in that same interview, Skip Bayless was like he got at one point he tells Jalen Rose, he was like, man, they're paying him for this. And Jalen Rose said the illest shit. He was like, hold up, so what my job pays me gives you the right to disrespect me? As in Russell Westbrook made so much money, so it's okay for us to talk about it. He's rich.
Right.
No, you don't have to disrespect me. Just like, it's one thing to talk about the box scores, the X's and O's, but when you start calling Chris Bosh Spice, you're taking it somewhere else.
Right.
That's my name, man. That's my family name. It means something to us, and you can't be sitting around. And then he was like, "Yo, you can come on the platform. We can talk it out." But that validates you and your platform. If I come across, that's why you don't see LeBron on First Take. He ain't fucking with that.
Thanks.
That's why I think First Take, why Undisputed is so much better than First Take, because Shannon been there. He ain't just there talking, bro. He's not just, okay, I played the big game. And man, this guy's on your TV talking every morning. And not only did he play the big game, he won 3 of them chips. Hall of Famer, Pro Bowler. Shannon Sharp was a monster. I hated Shannon Sharp when he was playing, because he was always lighting my team up.
Yeah, I love Shannon now as Uncle.
Yeah, I love Uncle Shay now. Shay's place. What you think of his transformation from athlete to journalist?
It's been nice. Like, I remember when Skip first left, I mean, I never have seen Shannon doing any of the stuff he was doing on Fox before. I think he was on Fox. Excuse me, I'm finishing this food right here. But yeah, I never had seen him on TV before. So when I first seen him with Skip, I instantly, probably within 2 months, I wasn't even watching First Take anymore.
Right. Max Kellerman grew on me, yo. I used to hate Max Kellerman when I was a kid, yo. When he used to do them ESPN fights.
Really?
I hated him back then, man. I didn't think he was calling shit fair line. I used to fair and down the middle sometimes. Just little slick shit he would say, and I was like, man, I just didn't like him as a kid growing up. But it seemed like once he got over there to HBO, he changed. You know what I'm saying? By the time he was over there, he was calling it more down the middle. It didn't seem like he was. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I thought he was a little hard on the black fighters sometimes.
Okay.
Even when they were winning. But once he got to HBO, I guess it was, in my opinion, this is still me. I'm a kid at the time. And I'm like, maybe he's cooler now because there's so much of that bullshit coming out of Larry Merchant mouth. He was like, well, maybe I need to play the other role.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or they might have told him, hey, let Larry be the one to do this. You're going to do this. You're going to be the voice of reason. You know what I'm saying? Because they would come to him sometimes. You know, he wasn't at the desk yet. You know, he wasn't sitting at the desk doing the play-by-play. They would just come to him later on. So what do you think was going on, Max, and stuff like that? But
come in.
Yeah, but
Tank, what up, Tank?
What it do, what it does.
So,
big brother Tank, how you doing, man?
Oh man.
DB, what's going on, DB?
Can't complain.
I was talking about you on the show not too long ago, Tank.
Oh man, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to do that. I don't know what I did wrong.
Nah, man. I was telling people something I did wrong, and I referenced you, and just told people how you're a good dude, but I didn't know that when I first met you.
Yeah, man. It's always love, man. I love the way Kyle said it's a treat when players meet. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's his bar?
Well, he always says it on the show.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was his bar though. I thought he got that from somewhere else.
I got it from him, so I don't know. He could have. You know what I mean? That's like people say Kobe Bryant got his one dribble, two dribble pull up from Michael Jordan, but they don't ever bring up the fact that Michael Jordan got it from Jerry West. You know what I'm saying?
How about that?
Yeah, Michael Jordan got the turnaround fadeaway, but they don't never say how efficient that Wilt Chamberlain was with the turnaround fadeaway first from the baseline or wherever else.
Wilt was a monster, bro. I was looking at some footage of him the other day, man, and it was just amazing some of the things he was doing, and they was talking about how he couldn't shoot free throws good, but in the game he'll do a pull-up jumper from even further away than that.
Right. But oh my God, go ahead.
Or he hit them when they counted. He always said that I hit them when they count. But throughout the year, throughout the game, but right there in the clutch when it counts, in the playoff or something, he'll hit one then. Even when they was talking about his underhanded, when he was like, let me try it this way, because he's so tall and he's so strong, just even throwing it, he can't throw it that light sometimes. That's why those big guys sometimes you would think they would be better free throw shooters because they're so tall, but actually it hurts to get against them because they don't know how to arc it.
Yeah, plus the free throw is just a whole different animal. And they never talk, they talk about, all these different things, but like guys like Rick Barry, in order to get his percentage up, he used to shoot underhand shots, you know what I mean, at the free throw line. The free throw line is just, to me, the free throw line is the telltale. And if a basketball player can shoot, because ain't no defender, ain't nothing in your way, but you, the basket, and your mindset, how strong your mindset is. You know what I mean? And that's where you can tell if somebody's a shooter. A lot of different players can score, but that doesn't mean you're a shooter per se, right? Usually, a great shooter can shoot from anywhere on the court, but the telltale is when it's nothing but them in the basket, free throw, no defender, can you make the shot? and that's where I kind of gauge it anyway. But
I
yeah,
didn't even know
Will
you knew
was
your
a special
basketball
dude.
like that, Tank.
Oh man, I'm a basketball head. That was my that's actually my favorite team sport is basketball. Obviously my favorite individual sport is boxing. But yeah, little young, little point guard, you know what I mean? In my
I
day,
thought your
but
favorite sport would be football.
no, I played football as I got older, you know what I mean?
I can tell. I seen your size of your head, nigga. You came on the field with your own helmet.
Nah, that's just because God had to make it so that my brain could fit my skull.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I can't even get no joke off on that. That's cheating. That's the cheat code. Bro,
Yeah, that's all about design. But yeah, so like Will Chamberlain got to talk about cheat codes. Will Chamberlain got the cheat code. You know what I mean? All these players that came behind him was like, oh, this guy did the fadeaway, but they don't know Will Chamberlain did the fadeaway. The Iceman George Gervin with the finger roll, but they don't know. You go back and you see that Will Chamberlain was the one that was doing the finger roll the most efficiently. You know what I mean? Oh, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the hook shot, and then you go back and you see Will Chamberlain hitting the hook shot from 3-point range.
Hey,
So that's the true cheat code.
Hey, Tank, I heard that they came up with the rule that you got to shoot it from the free throw because Wilt would just back up and just take off, take one dribble and go from the line.
That's funny you said that because when you was talking about him shooting the free throws, I was going to say there's so many stories about these players of yesteryear or before the shot clock era. They call it, or before quote unquote modern basketball. And one of the stories I remember hearing was that when Will Chamberlain was having a bad game and shooting free throws, the brother just went to the top of the key. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, took a step or 2 steps or whatever it is, and then just dunked it from the free throw line to get the free throw. And they was like, all right, we can't do that. Now you just really teaching. Because people forget, he's the greatest athlete, really. Because he was, you know what I mean? He was doing Iceman finger roll was fire. Yeah, it was. But you go back and watch Will Chamberlain finger roll, that was fire too.
Right. Yeah, he would like literally be standing over the rim and he'll just let it roll off his hand.
Yeah, over it. But yeah, Iceman, these guys got these things from somewhere. That's what my whole thing is. We get enamored with the LeBron James flying around, dunking, and Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant's, Tracy McGrady's, Vince Carter's, but people forget about the great Elgin Baylor, how he was the first one to really leave his feet as a wing player and do all the spectacular up and under layups and dunking on folks, things like that. That was Elgin Baylor's whole game, and he was pretty much the architect of the quote unquote what you call the high flyer in basketball.
Bro, I had to tell one of the youngest who was playing the game, and I was like, they was like, yo, they be trying to make the old players like point, they're ranking all the way up to 99, trying to show them respect. I was like, no, they was really that good, man. That's why the game stayed alive. If they was trash, the game would have ended up being, it would have turned into something else. It wouldn't have been as popular. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to ice hockey, but it might be like ice hockey. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's a sport, but it's not like, you know what I'm saying? People not going crazy for it like that. They're rated. You know what I'm saying? The NBA is competing with the NFL. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to compete with that. But it is what it is, man.
Yeah, I love it. I love that sport, man.
Who you got taking the finals this year, or who East and
gotta
West?
watch and see. Yeah, I gotta see who's how these tournaments, how these games end up.
You got an early pick?
You never know. No, I don't do that. I just kind of like to watch the story unfold. You know what I mean? Okay. Will a key player get injured at a particular time at a key moment in the playoff run, or there's an old injury? There's an old injury that happened in the regular season, rear its ugly head at the wrong time, and things like that. Will a player make a crucial mistake at a crucial moment?
Anything is going to happen, but I'm just saying who I favor. I'll tell you who I favor. I favor them Brooklyn boys, man. They just got a lot of firepower over there. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
And and I favor the Lakers. I would love to see that. I favor the Lakers from the West, and I favor Brooklyn on the East. And
Yeah, those are
the NBA want to make that happen. Like all of those stars, that shit gonna look like an all-star game, man.
Yeah, but I don't know how many stars do the Lakers have? All stars do the Lakers have? They just got LeBron and AD as all stars, right? I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think they're the only two all stars.
Technically, yeah.
But
that's true.
The Lakers are the Lakers. I think the Lakers can make a case that their birthright is the NBA Finals, as there's no other franchise that's been in the NBA Final round more than the Lakers have in the history of the basketball. So, yeah, they can make a case that that's where they belong. Brooklyn would be dope to see them win, because I think that the guys on the team take a lot of heat, whether it's James Harden being called out for not being a playoff player, doing all that hoopla in the regular season, putting those numbers up in spectacular games in the regular season, but when it comes playoff time, he is not able to lead his team to victories. He can get the numbers, but he can't get the letters, the W. So he has that thing on that tag on him. What's the guy's name from that was played for the Clippers and went to Detroit? Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin, who was touted as a high pick, destined to be great, got injured his very first season in the NBA. Then was on the other Clipper team, on one of the Clipper teams that was projected to be, the team to take over LA at that particular time. When you had it,
didn't even make it to the conference finals.
And just like any other Clipper team, they didn't make it to the conference finals, exactly. And then went to Detroit, just became another guy.
Role player.
Riding the bench because of injuries, repeatedly being injured. DeAndre Jordan, almost forgot about when he left the Clippers from that same exact Clippers team, and then went over to Dallas. Then went from Dallas, and he ended up over here with these guys. And Kyrie Irving, who got a bad rap, they were saying things like, he won a championship with Cleveland, but before LeBron got there, they wasn't nothing, and he was there. So
he was the narrative.
Right.
Yeah. But that's bullshit, though. I think that.
So I got you, but I'm just saying, though. I'm building the storyline. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, keep in mind, Kyrie was. But hold on, Tank. Let me say this. Let me just interject, just to trade dialogue with you. Kyrie too started speaking outside of things.
I'm going there. That's where I was going.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I was going. So now you got a player who people think you only won because of LeBron, and now you come out talking about well, listen, I'm a great player too, but not only am I a great basketball player, I'm more than a basketball player. I'm aware of the things that are going on in the world. So now when you start separating yourself from being an athlete, which is what people like to see, football is one of the greatest sports in the United States, not just because of what we see on the field, but also because they don't got to see your face. They don't got to know who you are. They don't really have to remember your name. You're just a number on a uniform for a particular team that somebody cheers for. Now, once you become impersonal, and now we have to remember who you are, and you have a little bit more personality, and you're not a quarterback, we really don't have that much patience for you. That's why receivers started to make their own names and go outside and color outside of the lines, and they started getting viewed as being quote unquote divas, right? But they never said that about the quarterback. So the same thing applies with Kyrie Irving and his skill set. So even when he's talking about things that are very, very relevant, whether it's the situation on the Gaza Strip in Palestine, or how native indigenous people are treated in the Americas, the Black Lives Matter thing, his stance on should the league even go back to playing when we are at a state that we're in terms of our racial dichotomy in the world at the time of the playoffs last year. All these things pointed a bullseye on Kyrie Irving, And then you add to that Kevin Durant, who people was like, why did you go to the Golden State Warriors when they already had 73 wins and blah, 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 right? And then all of a sudden, he wins 2 championships and they still dog him out. Well, it's only because you're on that great team. So then he goes and says, well, I want to leave and go to another team that's not already having 73 wins. And then they still get crushed. You know what I mean? So I think that would be a great story if they were able to win, because people don't like KD, people don't like Kyrie, people don't like James Harden. And I like to see them all shove that right back in people's face. That's the kind of person I am.
Said a lot about yourself too, Tim. What about LeBron, man? You don't like seeing history made, seeing him over there and just becoming everything that we thought he was gonna be, winning another one, getting back over there with the Lakers. Let's do it for Kobe.
Nah, I think that shit sailed a long time ago.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, I think at this point he's just trying to catch up to the other greats. You know, he's I think he has 4 wins and 6 losses or 7. I don't know what his record is in the NBA Finals. So I think at this point he's just trying to do his best to improve that winning percentage in the NBA Finals and pass some stats on the way out. That's just me. But I don't have no, you know, he got his win for the Lakers, even though it was a bubble gum. What was it called in the bubble?
DB, don't let him do this to the Lakers. Get in here, man.
All right, yeah. Let me jump in. Shout out to Mark Nash. Shout out to my brother Tank. What up, Cam? Hey, listen, man. I'm gonna say it like this, man. This purple and gold is something different. This ain't about one person. This ain't about LeBron. This ain't about AD. This is about that lineage and that line of champions that have been here since forever. This goes back to George Mikan. This goes back to Clyde Levert. This goes back to Elgin Baylor, the great Jerry West. This goes back to Happy Hairston. I'm talking about way back, man. And you know, from the 60s, 70s, even before that, when the Lakers were in Minneapolis, this has been a winning franchise, you know, for years and years. And the Boston Celtics had their time where they had Bill Russell and you know, and his amazing squad around him. And that was the only thing that prevented the Lakers from just racking up ships. But they found a way to get it done, you know, with the Buss family being able to make moves and get things done. And every 5 or 6 years, man, you know, Lakers won't ever go more than a few years and put something back together again. But right now, man, it's 17-17. The Lakers are tied with ships with the Green Goblins over in Boston. And this year it's time for the Lakers to take that crown as the champion of champions. The Lakers will get 18. And listen, while I agree with the narrative of getting all of these guys that are in New Jersey, Brooklyn, or wherever that is over that bridge somewhere on the East Coast, this is the time for the Lakers to reign supreme. It will be great to have another ship in Los Angeles. I mean, you know, we always talk about Kobe, the legend, the GOAT Kobe. We talk about the late, great Nipsey Hussle. But, man, it's a whole lot more, too, man, than just that, man. I think we are a melting pot within a melting pot. And, you know, the U.S. goes as California goes, and California goes as Los Angeles goes. So we need this not just for the morale, but also for business. And, you know, that's how everything plays out. But I do want to give a shout out to the late great John Singleton too, because I think his name kind of gets kind of left out of the acknowledgments and the praises. And he's done a whole lot for our city and also our community as melanated peoples. But yeah, this will be the Lakers year, man. And then Kyrie and those boys, man, they may be able to do something next year, but this year, this is a Laker year. And I also want to touch on something that y'all talked about too, man. And Tank kind of alluded to this, man. Listen, they always, you know, Kobe, it's like a 1A, 1B thing, or people automatically say Mike was just because they hate the Lakers so much and the success that the Lakers had and all of the odds that they've overcome and all of the hurdles that they always have to jump over. And they always taken away credit away from Kobe Bryant. And like Tank said, there's been a lot of above the rim guards, switch players, swingmen, wing players like Elgin Baylor, like the great Julius Erving, Dr. J, like the Iceman Gervin, even Jerry West, guys that played well on both sides of the ball. And before these leagues were emerged, when they had the ABA, the the American Basketball Association, I think they had the CBL, the Continental Basketball League, where all these black players came from, and then they had to merge into the NBA. So a lot of these guys' statistics were not carried over into the NBA. So if you look at the stat sheets, they don't look like they were as great as they were because they played in Negro leagues and in offshoots. But I think once those other ones were bought out and became defunct and all of these guys came over here, you still have to look at the talent of those dudes. Michael Jordan didn't create everything. You know, Julius Erving and Elgin Baylor and the Iceman, those guys created a lot of those moves like Tank was talking about, the shoulder dip, the first step, the fadeaway jump shot. I mean, there's there's just so many things. So can't give credit to one player and discredit, or can't give all the credit to Mike and discredit Kobe when Mike wasn't the originator. So anyway, that's my piece, but I'm down for the convo.
Yo, he ain't got to be the originator. It's just he made it look the way he made it look. He made it look so effortless. He was in there like, I'm not wearing the mouthpiece. I'm got my tongue out, dunking from the line. It was just aerodynamic. It was just the way his length, pause, and the way he just made the shit look sometimes like, and that killer instinct. We ain't going to no game sevens ever. So I think that's what people liked about Mike so much. Like undefeated in the championships, never went to a game seven. Like, and like he liked to take the last shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, and the marketing plan. It was a big ass marketing plan behind Jordan. I think Kobe gets his credit, rightfully so. But because if nothing else, you're gonna say like he's one of the closest things you saw to Michael Jordan, the way his body was shaped and built, the things he did in the air. Man, I was watching a Kobe clip today. Man, it was like top 10 moments, and they showed how he got his 60 in his last game, but also it was just little moves he was doing, like coming down the court on a fast break, between the leg, in the air, behind the back, reverse dunk. It was just like, come on, bro. I'm sitting there watching the clips, sitting here in the studio, jumping out the chair like, God, like it's my first time seeing this. Watching him just hit these last minute clutch shots to come back. And just to continue to be great, man. Like, I think Kobe's super amazing. And I like to see guys like LeBron go out there and, I like to see history made right in front of my eyes. But I wouldn't be upset seeing these guys win it neither, because that's going to be history made for them and their family and that franchise and its legacy as well. Brooklyn got their first championship. You get what I'm saying? But I'm like, come on, like all of this to beat LeBron, because I remember they wouldn't let Chris Paul join Kobe, but they let all these dudes be super teams now. And I just be like, yo, this is crazy, because all of this is to beat LeBron, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's the narrative that they got. Oh, my bad, go ahead.
Or the Warriors, you know what I'm saying? But I think the Warriors, like they, people say, like, okay, they ain't got KD no more. This guy's hurt right now. What's his name? Clay. So they super vulnerable. And it was like, okay, man, we just got to beat these dudes in LA. If we can beat them, we're gonna win this whole thing. And that team is built to beat them. And I can see them beating them. But I won't put no money on it right now. Like Tank said, we got to see how it plays out health-wise. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say they get like a lot of narratives. It's always dope in sports to see and listen to what narrative is gonna come out concerning whatever the event is that's coming up, or the events are that's coming up. Because like I always hear them say the game 7 things, but they don't put it in context. Yeah, in the NBA Finals, he being Michael Jordan, never was forced into a Game 7, but he did play in Game 7s in the playoffs, um, and I believe before, because people don't remember this, but uh, the first round of the playoffs haven't always been 7 games. It used to be 5 games,
I'm glad you
and
said that. A lot of people forget that.
right,
That
and
3 out of 5.
two or twice he's went all the way to Game 5 in the first round when that was the format. So I like a lot of people kind of throw that narrative out there as if he never allowed to go to the Game 7, and
But they're
they have
talking
that for
about
the
the
championship
finals,
round. I
though.
know I'm getting there. I'm getting
That's key, though.
there. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. So they use that. They talk about that, but they never point out that he has played in Game 7s. He has went all the way to a Game 5 when the format was um, 5 game series in the first round, and they only bring that up in the NBA Finals, but they never contextualize that because you have to understand that it depends on, like, it's different. Like, right, if you play against a champion, you're gonna get a different kind of uh, competition level than if you're playing against or fighting against, depending on whatever sport, somebody who doesn't know how to win a championship, or a team that doesn't know how to win a championship, or is not on their way. Like, they've done everything except for win a championship, and they're going to learn how to do it on you. There's a different level of competition when you take that into consideration. So, I mean, we don't know if he would have went to a Game 7 had he played against, you know, another team that had won a championship, or you know, but it is what it is, and it's a fact that he's never went to a Game 7. But I just like to see the narratives when they come out with it. He just never allowed it to go to a Game 7. Like, there's other factors into how those games ended out, and those playoff series ended out, and who he played against matters. You know what I mean? I believe that those things matter. Like, if you're fighting against a number one contender, that number one contender is put himself in a position to become a champion. But you don't know if they know how to become a champion or win the big fight until they win it. Just like they say, like, this fight against Devin Haney versus Linares, to make a boxing analogy, this is his step up fight because of what Linares has done in his career in terms of championship fights and fighting top notch competition at the championship level versus the other people that he has fought in his career outside of Gamboa. So, like, those things kind of matter too.
Let me say something. I want to reply to that, Tank. Here's the deal. When Jordan got his first chip, didn't he get it against the Lakers, though?
Let me know when I can answer the question, because I don't want to interrupt you.
No, let me know now. Like, answer that part, because I'm not sure. Who did he get his first title against? Wasn't it the Lakers?
Yes, it was against the Lakers. But it wasn't against the Lakers like they make it seem. Like, when they say
Somebody
Jordan got
injured. Who was injured? Somebody was injured.
No. Let me. I'm explaining. Well, let me answer your question first, okay? James Worthy and Byron Scott were injured, but let me explain what I mean by that. When they say Jordan beats Magic's Lakers, right? They'll say that on your TV, but they don't ever point out that that's not the same Lakers that was winning the championship in the 80s. There was no Pat Riley. There was no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. James Worthy wasn't the same. Byron Scott wasn't. There was no Michael Cooper. This was not the same team that was winning championships in the 80s. That was playing against the Celtics. That was playing against the Pistons. That was playing against the Rockets. That was playing against the 76ers. This is not the same team. This is a team that had international star when people didn't even respect international stars. They didn't even know how to pronounce Vlade Divac's name. They was calling him Vlade Divac. You know what I'm saying? The what do they call what do they call the power forward down, the stretch four, right? And Sam Perkins, that wasn't something that was looked upon as a thing that can help you win. Magic Johnson took that team to that level, almost single-handedly, right? With an injured James Worthy, with an injured Byron Scott on one leg, who was nursing a hamstring. Magic Johnson himself was coming off hamstring issues, but he was Magic Johnson, so he can do that. But it wasn't like they made it out to be like if he beat the Lakers that was winning those titles that was playing under Pat Riley.
Okay, but Tank, this is what I'm saying, and I hope I'm not being disrespectful to you, and being argumentative. Just
not at all. I'm just going to explain it in the replay justify it all.
Absolutely, and I respect that 100%. Tank, do you feel like what you said earlier about a guy who's a contender versus a champion? Because at that point, Jordan's a contender. He hasn't won nothing yet, but those guys, a lot of those guys were left over. They've been champions before.
Do you know who they are? Outside of the two injured players that I said and Magic Johnson?
I don't know. I just know that's that organization. But I wasn't. I mean, I was a baby in '91. I was a baby. I wasn't even watching.
That's why I got you. That's why your boy is here. Because I was watching it.
But regardless, though, even if you have,
but not a teenager,
but you got the locker room though. You got at least 3 guys, whether they're not playing or not. These guys are the heartbeat of the team. Like that, they're the locker room. That's Magic Johnson. That's the Lakers, man. They got banners everywhere.
That's how they got to the NBA Finals.
I'm sorry?
It's Magic Johnson. I'm saying that's how they got to the NBA Finals. Because that's Magic Johnson. Because that was the locker room. Because that was the org. But it takes more than that to win a championship. You see, you have to be able to do it. You have to have the right people. You have to have the right coaching. That team that Michael Jordan won with was very similar to the team that he had in 1987 and 1988 when he didn't win it. When they still had Pippen on it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to take into consideration these other things. I'm glad that you brought that out, that you were born in 1991, because I believe that the media takes advantage of that fact.
I'm not that young, but I was a baby. I ain't have control of the TV.
Right. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So I don't know when you were born. I was born in 1979. So you see what I'm saying? So like there's a little gap
you
there.
Uncle Tank.
That's what I'm trying to say. I was old enough to comprehend what I was watching. I've been watching basketball from a position to understand it since I was 5 years old. And I know people will say, well, come on now, not when you're 5. Yes, when I was 5. I was competing in martial arts tournaments and winning tournaments in my area by the time I was 7, 8 years old. So basketball, watching guys dribble and having that being explained to me was no big deal if I could do an inside crescent kick, a back fist. You understand what I'm saying? A roundhouse or break a finger, that shoot a basketball and understand those concepts wasn't that far off for me at that time. So, like I said, I've been watching basketball since 1984, and I started watching basketball watching the Lakers lose to the Celtics in the NBA Finals. So by the time 1991 came around, I was pretty much aware of what was going on at the time. So it's something that I noticed in today's media, where these are the kids of that era, like myself, you know what I mean, or maybe within a 10-year age gap, one way or the other. Right, either 10 years older or 10 years younger than me. Those are the guys that shape the thoughts and minds of the people that watch their media platform. So when they say he beat Magic Johnson's Lakers, people assume that, oh, well, yeah, Pat Riley, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, and when that's not the case.
Right, because I'm looking at the roster now online. Those guys aren't there. It's Eldon Campbell, Lottie Divac, Larry Drew, AC Green, Magic Johnson, Sam Perkins, Byron Scott, Tony Smith, Terry Teagle, Irving Thomas, Michael Thompson, and James Worthy.
Right. And then the guys that you named that was on the team in the 80s, those guys are up in age now. So they have that wear and tear, because you have to keep in mind, once Magic Johnson got on the team, being the greatest basketball player of all time, he took the position that, look, I don't know what y'all done before I got here, but when I get here, we play in the NBA Finals. That's what we do. Because I'm a champion. I play for championships. I don't know what y'all been doing. I don't know what Kareem had y'all doing before that. This is me talking, but of course, but because you got to understand, just like the Clippers had not reached the conference finals yet in their illustrious franchise career, the Lakers, when they had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the 4 seasons before Magic Johnson even got there, had not even been in the NBA Finals. But when Magic Johnson got there, from his rookie season to the time he retired, forced him to retirement because of the HIV situation, he was playing in the NBA Finals. That's how he rolled. So when you say the things, because you're spot on, 100% correct. That culture, those banners, that locker room, Magic Johnson being in the locker room. He's like, yeah, Vlad Divac, whatever your name is. Yeah, I know you played over there in Croatia, Yugoslavia, whatever. But over here, this is what I need you to do. Bam, that's what you're going to do. Sam Perkins, I know you came from over there and you was playing with the Kings and you was doing all this whatever when you was playing with Jordan, but this is what you're going to do over here. Bam. Byron Scott, you know what to do. Well, I can't. I got one leg. All right, well, do what you can while you out there. James Worthy ended up in the suit, but when he's playing against an old college teammate, where when he was on the team with Michael Jordan, he was the best player on the college team, so he tried to get it out, even though he wasn't nowhere near 100%. You see, now we can look at it and give, like, let's say if the Lakers lose this season, what's going to be the first thing people say? Yeah, but they're injured. They were injured coming into the playoffs. Look at all the wear and tear. And see, that's what I'm trying to explain when they say Jordan beat Magic's Lakers. It was the same exact thing.
So Tank, do you think that the new generation is like doing revisionist history or something, like, to lift up their legends even higher?
You got it, bro. And we all do it though. We all do. Like, you hear me saying Magic Johnson, right? Well, I remember my dad's era. My dad flat out, me and my dad had a conversation not too long ago, and he was like, "Look, Tank, I understand what you're saying, but my dad's a Laker, right? He's a Laker guy. He's like, it's Bill Russell. I don't know what I understand what you want. He's like, it's Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain. Those are the greatest players of all time, but Bill Russell's the number one. He got 11 championships. I don't know what y'all talking about now, but Bill Russell's the guy. Like, my dad would tell me, swear to me up and down that. You know what I mean? And he's a Laker guy. From Louisiana, but he's a Laker guy. I guess LA, one way or the other, right? Right. So it depends on the era, right? It literally depends on the era, just like you said. You can't tell some of the people, like I have students that would tell me, they look at me up and down like I was crazy, talking about, well, Kevin Durant is the best basketball player of all time. And the class before they graduated was, it's all about LeBron James. LeBron James the GOAT. And I'm like, okay, fair enough, whatever. I understand what's going on because you're looking at the news and you're hearing the narratives.
Hey, look, and it's kind of dope, especially being an educator, because you actually see it change year by year by year.
Exactly. And kids be honest because they saying it from their perspective, right? So you get to learn like everything from their perspective. It's like, okay, I see.
How long you been in education? How many years?
9.
So, so you go all the way back to when they were saying Derrick Rose is gonna change the game.
Derrick Rose is the best. Have you seen Derrick Rose about play? Is he the best point guard of all time? I try to bring up Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas to these guys, and they just
so every year you saying the same names, and every year they got a new name. Russell Westbrook,
right? Or when Derrick Rose was playing, I was like, yeah, that Russell Westbrook guy, because I got to be LA biased. I got to throw my LA bias in there somewhere, and I'll be like, well, yeah, Russell Westbrook. And actually, I had just saw Russell play at the Poly Pavilion when he was in college, so I got a chance to watch him. So I was like, man, there's a kid coming, Russell Westbrook. You got to watch him too. He's an athletic point guard. Yeah, but he's not Derrick Rose, D Rose. All right. And now look at who career panned out the way it is based off what? Injuries. So we don't know how stories unfold. Going back
what happened to Derrick Rose? I heard he just left one time. It's like, yo, I'm out of here, bro. I'm going to chill for a couple weeks.
Well, he had some issues, family, personal stuff at home. You know what I mean? He's from a city where it's very dangerous for Black people, right? Lost a loved one. I don't want to get too much of this personal, but
is it public record?
But those things tend to weigh on a person's psyche, and then they realize, and then you couple that with injuries, right? And trying to come back from injuries, and those things tend to weigh on a person's perspective as to what's important in life, basketball or what's going on in my real life. And he had to take that time off to resituate everything and recalibrate himself. And he has come back as a better, version of himself since then, and has come to grips with his capabilities physically now as opposed to where he was prior to his injuries. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But it's like a Grant. It's like the Grant. I'm glad you brought that up because to me, Derrick Rose is this era's Grant Hill. Because remember how Grant Hill was able to bounce back and he was able to be a very serviceable player when he played for Phoenix. But those of us who remember him back at the Pistons days, Grant Hill, and what he was supposed to be when he went to the Magic, and people was like, "Oh, him and Tracy McGrady gonna play together," right? So that is like the equivalent of the course of the careers of D Rose, because now he's playing with the Knicks and he's a lesser version of himself in terms of the physical capabilities, but like Grant Hill and Robert and Ron Harper before him, they were able to work with what they had left in the tank because they have high basketball IQs.
Did Grant Hill ever win a ring with a team? I forget. I know he might have been on. He might have.
Nah,
So he
Kobe
knew.
Kobe Bryant broke his heart because in 2010 NBA, in the Western Conference Finals, that was probably his best shot. The Phoenix Suns were probably the only team that can compete with the Lakers because of the way they played, and they used the what do they call that defense? That zone defense. They were experts at using that zone defense, and it took Pau Gasol out of what he do, because Pau's not the most mentally tough guy, right? They say. So, or physically tough or whatever, but once his game started going down, they had an opportunity, but Kobe Bryant had such an amazing series in that Western Conference Finals that year that he shut the door on Grant Hill's championship run.
Oh, hello, I'm glad you said that, and I'm also glad you corrected yourself. Right? How do you feel about people who are not qualified to diagnose someone's mental health? Often in sports, we're saying he's mentally weak.
Hold on. I'm still here. Let's. I don't mean to cut nobody off. I'll let y'all cook for a second.
I can't see the screen.
We can't see who's in. Yeah, we can't even see who's in.
Okay.
Everybody,
I don't want to.
Man, let us know who's.
Sorry.
I'm gonna mute my mic and make you some coffee. Go ahead, cook.
I'm sorry.
I just don't like to cut nobody off. You know what I'm saying? So, but I do want to ask a question to our good brother Mark Nash. Where did you come up with the measure or the measuring tool for the greatest player? Because this is what I hear. This is the same constant parakeeting that I hear from people. Mike went undefeated in the finals. So when did that become the measure of being the greatest player of all time? Like, where did you get that from?
I didn't know I said that. I maybe you came in a different part of the conversation.
No. I have 3 phones here, and I just rewinded it back so I can make sure I heard it correctly. That's what
I said Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time.
No. I said you said Mike went undefeated in the finals. And I said people usually tend to use that as like the basis of their argument. They start with that. So I'm saying, like, where did you get that from?
It wasn't an argument. We was basically just saying like that was incredible. Or I don't even remember how it came into a conversation, but I do realize we were talking about something else and talking about revisionist history. I think that's where the conversation went to. But what's the question again? I'll still try to answer it though. What was the question?
Okay, let me back up a second and just try to break it down using mixed martial arts, for example. Okay, I'm not sure if you follow MMA at all, but you may know who Dana White is, and you may know who Joe Rogan is, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so people start following the sport. They never trained before. They never been in a gym before. Never had somebody punch them in the nose. They don't understand the arts. They don't understand the difference between submission wrestling and jiu-jitsu. They don't get it. Okay. They watch the fight and they hear Joe Rogan say this particular person, right? They say Tank, the Sweet Science Examiner, is the greatest striker that I've ever seen. And then they start to parakeet that because they heard Joe Rogan say it and they've never done it. So just because the commentator was the one saying it, that continues to be what people say. Oh, such and such is the best striker ever. And then that's the argument. Like that's the basis there. Like that's the line, right? And then they'll listen to Dana White in an interview. Dana White will go, well, this person is the best wrestler that this company has ever seen.
I remember now how we got on it.
There we go.
Thank you. We were talking about guys who did moves before, like, hey, the finger roll right here, or Jordan's pullback jumper, or such and such one, the first one to dunk or do things like Elgin Baylor did things. And I said, yeah, but Jordan came in and he just looked different doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like no mouthpiece, the tongue out, waving, dunking from the free throw line. And also it was a big marketing plan behind him. Those were my words. And I said, but also we were talking about but also when you hear the fact that he got 6 titles and it was 2 3-peats back to back, and he never even went to a game 7. I was just laying that all out as in like, yeah, that's why Jordan gets a lot of those accolades, but don't forget that marketing budget behind him. You know what I'm saying?
No, I hear you, but I'm just asking. This wasn't, like you said, the tank. It wasn't an argument. I'm just asking, like, when you say that he went undefeated in the finals, like, where did that come from? Is that something that you saw, like, Tank, when you were 5 years old and said, "Oh wow, this guy's never lost in the finals"? That's the greatest thing that I've ever seen. For Mark Nash, not for
for me, it wasn't even something I even thought about as a kid growing up. Because I didn't know how many times he had been there before me. Like Michael Jordan was already Michael Jordan when I was watching him. You get what I'm saying? So that's not the measuring stick for me. For me, it's the plays. It's some of the things I saw as a kid, like watching basketball and just like just certain plays. I can still remember him shooting the free throw blindfolded. I remember him doing a fast break. He stopped, he palmed the ball, he faked it. The defender went past him. Then he just shot a little easy shot. Just the reverse. I remember him dunking on Mutombo and doing the no. Like I remember watching all of these games because Chicago had the numbers, so we was watching the game anyway, so my mom can get the number. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So, but for me, it wasn't a measuring stick. Just to be shorter with the answer. But
got it. Okay.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's a narrative. It's a talking point that you hear somewhere. You're like, oh, I'll hold on to that one.
Yeah, and for me,
right. I think you're right. It's a narrative that goes around you, but nobody mentions. Like, look, you'll hear, okay, Jordan went to the final 6 times, and he ain't never went to a game 7, and he won every time he was in the big game. But you don't hear about the failures before that. Or you also just would naturally assume, well, I guess he's better than Magic Johnson. He went there 6 times, won all 6. Magic Johnson only got 5. They don't tell you how many times Magic Johnson went to the finals, though. As in, like, oh, this guy was always going to the big game. Win, lose, or draw, he was at the big game. So, yeah. People forget. Like even with LeBron, like they're gonna remember his championships, but you're gonna forget how many times you still had to deal with him year after year after year. He was something to deal with for almost 20 years. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I just sometimes when I hear people say these, I just like to ask where they got them from, and I don't care where it is and whatever the argument is. I just like just for me to kind of jot it. Okay, got it. This is where this person got it from. But I know when I'm watching boxing, and I know when I'm watching MMA or combat sports, I know when I hear somebody say something, I know where the narrative came from. It's very, very likely that I would know. But you know, people use arguments for Jordan that they use against Kobe. Like they don't mention that Kobe. That Michael Jordan hasn't scored 60-point games as many times as Kobe. I think he's got 6 or 7. They never mention that Kobe's 81 it would probably be tougher than Wilt's 100 back in the day, and especially this being done, you know, by a guard. They don't mention that, you know, the 9 games of scoring 40 points and the 13 games of scoring 35, or Kobe beat an entire team by himself. I think the Dallas Mavericks when he had 62, when they had 61. You know, they don't use that. Mike's never done that, and this is not used. They don't talk about Kobe having the record for the most 3-pointers in a game, later broken by Angelino, Klay Thompson, and UCLA Bruin and Zach LaVine. But you know, Kobe held that record until they changed the structure of the NBA. They don't talk about, like you just said, Kobe Bryant going to 7 finals, taking your team to the finals 7 times. Mike only took it 6 times. You know,
And the
they don't
West.
talk about Kobe having more career points than Michael Jordan. I mean, there's so many different things that you know, I just like when there's an argument, if you use something for one person, then you have to use the same thing for the other person. Like it can't be a, what do they call that? A hypocritical point. Go ahead, you can.
Yeah, and
I can reply to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kobe's the GOAT. Love Kobe Bryant. Love Kobe Bryant. Now, granted, I own more of Michael Jordan's shoes, but I will be remiss if I didn't tell y'all, as a father and a husband, I didn't weep for Kobe and his loss, you know, and loss of life and his daughter and his family. As much as I love Michael Jordan's game, I never felt like I was connected to him like that. Maybe because I grew up around that Kobe era, you know, like we was not too far apart in age. He was a little older, but you get what I'm saying? Yeah, man. Like he was inspiring. And just like I said, it was just like the torch was passed. And yeah, man, I love Kobe. You ain't gonna catch me in no conversation having anything bad to say about Kobe. And some of those things you named right there, I probably didn't even know neither. You know what I'm saying? But rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, man.
Yeah, I can run off stats like all day for Lakers and Kobe's and basketball, period. But yeah, Kobe's the GOAT. You right on that. But go ahead, Big Tank.
hey, and I was gonna also say to DBA, when we talk about, you know, certain things, like Mark Nash was saying, they talk about Magic going to the finals, but they never talk about the fact that from the time he entered the NBA in 1980, and you know the HIV forced him into retirement in 1991. That was about 13 seasons, and of those 13 seasons, 12 seasons, right? 12 seasons or something like that. And of those 12 seasons, he played in the NBA Finals 9 times. And they kind of sweep that narrative under the rug.
He was LeBron before LeBron, bro.
He was LeBron before LeBron,
Played out of high school.
But he did it in the era that most people consider the quote unquote golden era of basketball.
Right.
You
And
had to be real tough too, right?
It shouldn't be understated. Say that again. I didn't hear you.
You had to be real tough round in too, right?
You had to be real tough. You had to have a combination of skills, physical toughness, and mental toughness. You know what I mean? There was no parameter that was put in the rule book that okay, like for example, like if you look at the game now, right? One of the things that bother me about the NBA today is that when you just look at the game, it looks like almost everybody's the same height. Almost everybody looks the same size. They call it the small ball era, right? Where they pick out just certain players or athletes that can be interchangeable from each position, so that everybody can switch almost from the point guard to the center position, and you're not that far off in size, right? You're either 2 or 3 inches from one position to the other. You know, very very few teams have a player on the team that's the center. You know, a lot of times when you watch these games, they can run up and down the court, and you'll look and you'll be like, okay, I see 10 guys. Who's the center on this play? Who's the center on each team? Like you can literally look at the game and be like that. And then you'll see like a Denver Nuggets team play, and you'll be like, okay, there go Joker. You know what I mean? You'll see, you know, certain teams play, and you'll see the center. But for the most part in the league, you don't see that. Well, in the golden era of basketball, you had a power forward, you had a center, you had a point guard, you had all these roles were defined, and they had roles. They had literal roles. You had a power forward. He probably couldn't shoot a lick. He probably couldn't jump all that high, but he was a bruiser, and his job was to make sure that if you came in for a layup, you get discouraged from doing it again. You know what I'm saying? They called them enforcers at that time. So you know, he played in a much different kind of a league. Some people like the league, some people don't. But you got to take into consideration when they say things like LeBron James is going to end his career as, top 5 points, rebounds, and assists, these stats are not even tracked the same way as they once was. An assist now, when LeBron James was playing, wasn't an assist when Magic Johnson was playing. You didn't get 2 dribbles after the person passed you the ball and still get a chance to shoot the ball and not be counted as an assist. There's been so many different rule changes. The game has been sped up now because instead of a 10-second violation or half-court violation, now it's an 8-second violation. So you literally have to move the ball up faster. Well, the prototype for that type of a game was Magic Johnson's Lakers. They didn't need no more than a few seconds because Magic Johnson was pushing the rock and putting pressure on the defense as soon as he got the basketball. You know what I mean? He forced you to be like, okay, you got to find a guy fast. One of these wing players, Kareem, you got to find somebody fast, get a body on that person, because Magic Johnson is either going to find them running down the court, or he's going to go get an easy layup on his own. And he made you in a split second make decisions like that. And he was skilled enough to do it. So they come up with these false narratives now, be like, oh, Magic couldn't shoot. I was having a conversation with one of my basketball brothers not too long ago. We play in the Drew League. So out here in LA, that's a big thing, right? It's like the Rucker, right? So he's a Drew League Hall of Famer, you want to call it whatever. And he was saying, well, they say Magic couldn't shoot, and I'm like, well, look. And I started sending him all these clips. I'm like, Magic could shoot. Magic was above 80% free throw shooter, and look at his mid-range game. What it is his shot didn't look pretty like Michael Jordan, like you were bringing up, Mark Nash. Mark brought it up perfectly. It was the way Jordan looked. Jordan took that style. He said, okay, look at the way Jerry West looks on his jump shot. And when you look at Michael's jump shot, you go back and you look at Jerry West's jump shot. It's almost the same thing. The 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull up from the elbow. You know what I mean? These things are repetitive. And people don't give the proper credit. Kobe Bryant is the only player in NBA history to steal something from somebody, right? And the only player he stole from is Michael Jordan. These are the narratives, right? But they don't talk about the fact that he took from Isaiah's game. He took from James Worthy's game, Michael Jordan's game, Hakeem Olajuwon's game. There's a famous story that Kevin Garnett once told upon the passing of Kobe Bryant, where they were at an all-star game early in their career, and Kobe Bryant just had the balls to go up to Gary Payton, was like, hey, how do you play defense? How do you do it? What is it? What are the tricks of the trade? And Gary Payton was so enamored by the kid coming up to him and respected that so much because nobody had really approached him like that, especially being a young guy who was getting the notoriety that Kobe Bryant was at that age, would come to him and ask him that, right? And then he took him through the whole gambit of all his little trade secrets. And then he pulled KG to the side with them, and they went through his whole package of defensive nuances and little secrets and tricks of the trade, how to position your body, use your chest, get in real close, be on this side when the referee's on that side, so you can pull their arm, sneak in here like that. You know what I mean? All these different things. Kobe Bryant took all these different facets of these different players' game, and all you hear is, he's just the closest thing you've seen since Michael Jordan. So these narratives matter.
Ooh, Tank, boy, cooking with hot grease. Yeah, you had to be tough, man, when you had these guys. And I just started thinking about these names, thinking about Maurice Cheeks and Dennis Johnson, Joe Dumars, Michael Cooper, the bad boys, that entire squad, man, they clothesline you coming through there. Remember what the Denver Nuggets had this white dude, I think his name was, what is his name? Greg Kite. Rick Mahorn, Moses Malone. You had to be tough. And yeah, like you said, Tank, man, these guys, Magic played in an era where you definitely had to be tougher than you had to be, I believe, in the 90s. And then the 90s, you had to be tougher than what these guys are now. Because these guys now are all, taller, slinkier versions of a swing man with, I don't think with as much skill. I think they are more well-rounded, but not more dominant in one or two specific areas. Go ahead.
Facts, DB, and more athletic. You can say there's more athletes, but they can't be disrespectful to the athletes of yesteryear. Like Sean Kemp wasn't an athlete, like Dominique Wilkins wasn't an athlete. You know what I mean? They got the game twisted like a pretzel.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But yeah, man, I love the basketball conversation. I don't even care if when it comes to basketball, it can even be a basketball argument. I'm with all of it, because like mixed martial arts and boxing, but more than anything, mixed martial arts and or martial arts period and basketball. Man, listen, I can take it back. I can take it back. I have so many VHS tapes, and I'm one of the few people when chicks come to visit, man, they always start tripping out like, "You got a VCR?" Yeah, because I got all these VHS tapes that I can't that I can't get rid of because I got, you know what I mean? Like it's not transferred. Everything's not transferred, and you cannot find everything on YouTube. Eventually, everything will probably be there, but man, there's so many things. I remember just being a little lad, and it's so funny, man. I'm gonna have my pops come on the show one day. But my pops will tell you, I used to make these VHS tapes when Kobe would make a play. I would try to catch him in transition, like as they pass the ball and get the play. And even if it was a miss, like he went for a double clutch or 360 dunk or whatever, we get it and probably fast forward and then stop it. And then when the play, if he made the play and they showed the replay of the actual play, that was recorded. But that may have not made Sports Center or whatever the news channel was that night all the time because there ended up being so many highlights under Kobe's jacket. You know what I mean? So I had a bunch of plays that if you didn't watch that game or you didn't watch the highlights that night, then you just didn't see it. But man, I got so many. And I got Laker everything, man, everything.
Yeah, I wish I could get one of my bros on one of these panels one day that used to watch me watch the games just like that on the, on the VHS. Later when they came out with TiVo and all the whole nine, especially when they came out with on because remember every VCR didn't have slow motion, so that was like a new feature in the later versions of VCR. So when they had that, it was a wrap. I would the way I would watch games, like none of my bros like to watch games with me. Not basketball, not really any games, but especially basketball, because uh, I watch the same play probably 5 times at least. And the reason why is because I will watch the play over and over is because I want to see what each player on the team was doing. And it's 5 players, you know what I'm saying? So usually I watch it 5 times because each player is connected to another player. And if they weren't, I would see why. I'd be like, okay, that's why you didn't get the rebound. You way over here, or you just got caught watching, you know what I mean? And they used to hate it, man. I took forever to watch games. Like, Tank, I'm never coming over here to watch games again. And then sometimes they end up over there and they be like, what you doing? I'm watching yesterday's game. Nigga, again, we already know how it ended. And that don't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? I need to know why a perfect example. I needed to know why the Lakers didn't get the rebound in Game 6 of the 2006 Western Conference first round against the Phoenix Suns when Tim Thomas hit that 3-point shot at the end of the game that banked off. You see what I'm saying? Like stuff like that bugged me. I had to see why we didn't get the rebound. Lamar Odom, what are you looking at? Oh, okay, now I see. I had to watch it a couple times and get like that. So people hate, and I watch boxing like that. I do everything like that. You know what I mean? So I'm like the worst person to watch stuff with, because I'm looking at it from it's almost like I'm doing film study as I'm watching it. You know what I'm saying? Especially after it's already aired. You know what I'm saying? Or I have the capability of pausing, rewinding, things like that. I don't watch I don't have to watch it in necessarily in the sequence that everyone else is watching. I don't have to watch the flow of the game, so to speak. I'm watching what I'm watching. Hey, look, BB, I'm giving away some of my nerdiest shit, bro, dog, about me. So look, I will watch stuff to the all the way to the extent of I will watch the play an extra time to see what the fans reaction was. to the plate.
I swear to God, I do the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? He's looking like, let me see. The sway the fans. Okay, now that's what Kobe Bryant does. That's what he brings to the table. Look at the ball boy or the towel guy on the other team fall out when Kobe Bryant did that move, dribble the ball through his legs. Now that's what I'm talking about. Look how these little niggas put his hands in his head like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? All day.
Man, I swear to
That's why I
God, I
talk so
got
much
that
shit.
nerdy gene in there.
You see what I'm saying? That's that shit, dog.
Yeah.
That's why when I was like, I was telling my home, I was like, yeah, I was something about, like, I just relate to DB because I feel like that's like a kindred spirit, dog. We have to be from the same tribe. We gotta be from
That's
the
a
same
fact. That's a
tribe.
fact.
So.
That's a fact. That's definitely a fact. Yeah, man. I spend so much time, even like now, and that's one thing that I like about not necessarily social media, but about YouTube. I can actually go back and man, my girl would tell you, man, like I will watch the fans' reactions. It's so funny that you said that, but I watch the fans' reactions and start tripping off of that. Like, oh, look at old boy with the blue shirt on. Look at old boy with the blue shirt. Watch this. Watch it. Watch his eyes. See how he got bug eye? Like, man, that's crazy. Yeah. Kobe jumped from the 3-point line. It wasn't the free throw, it was the 3-point line. Watch it. Watch it again. Watch it again. See his foot?
Respect. Oh,
Yeah.
who's controlling is that? Put that comment that DSFG put up real quick. Hold on, let me go look at where's my phone at? He said, respect to LeBron James and Curry, Kyrie, but they can stay in their lane though. Never over Jordan or Iverson or Kobe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Something that DB was saying earlier when he was talking about Kobe Bryant and the other guys, the Danielle Marshalls and these guys who the Klay Thompsons who had 3-point records, that he was being what's the word? He was being gracious or not gracious. He was being modest, right? Is the difference between these guys and Kobe Bryant is Kobe Bryant was never known as a shooter, and he did it. Kobe Bryant was a scorer. He could shoot, but he wasn't a shooter. He was a scorer. You know what I mean? And Kobe Bryant only did that because he was playing against Ray Allen, who was popping his gums.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They having a little spat in the media. And Ray Allen was known as the shooter in the NBA at that time. And they both came out of the same draft. So Kobe Bryant, when he got the NBA record in the 3-point shots, that was something he went out and did to show people I could do whatever I set my mind to. And I don't know if you guys watched today. Kwame Brown was live on Ticket TV, Ticket TV's new channel, Pro Basketball Updates, I think is what it's called. He had Kwame Brown on there today, and Kwame Brown was talking about Kobe Bryant. He had a little at the end before he got off. He had to go into Kobe Bryant, and he was like,
"Oh, really?
What y'all?" Yeah, and Kwame broke it down. He said, "What y'all don't know, we know this already, DB. So when I say this, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I knew that." But the way it was good, it's always good to hear these stories from players who played with him because of the narrative that's associated with Kobe Bryant. But Kwame Brown was like, what people don't know is that if he said the thing that I think that I wish they would have done and we would have done as a team more often is start Kobe Bryant as the point guard. Y'all have no idea how great of a point guard Kobe Bryant was. In practice, a lot of times that's all he played was point guard. And the way that he directed the show on the court for the offense, amazing. Like his vision, all that, the way he can give people the ball, the way he can take over. And oh yeah, don't forget he can shoot. Don't forget he can score. Don't forget he's Kobe goddamn Bryant. You know what I'm saying? But if he wanted to play point guard, he would be the best point guard in the NBA, and we would have been unstoppable if Kobe Bryant was the point guard. But Phil Jackson got the triangle and so forth and so on. He went into the whole thing, but he was like Kobe Bryant, the point guard. And so I always have this thing when I try to explain to people when they give that false narrative that Kobe Bryant wasn't a passer, he couldn't pass, or he didn't like to pass, or he was a selfish player. I always love to hear his teammates dispel that false narrative and say, no, Kobe Bryant was a great teammate. Kobe Bryant made us better. he was a leader by example. He raised the expectation bar up because a lot of people think that making a teammate better is to pass them the basketball, but it's a lot more than that. You know, you have to challenge a player to be the best version of themselves. And he more or less went into how Kobe Bryant did that for not only himself, but their entire team at that time. You know what I mean? Kobe Bryant was a great passer. If you ever get a chance to go on YouTube, anybody listen to this, you go watch Kobe Bryant's assist mix, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying. He had some of the most beautiful passes that anybody has ever made on the basketball court during the game. And it shows that because a lot of people don't know this, that his favorite player growing up and the person that he always thought was the greatest player and his idol wasn't Michael Jordan, it was Magic Johnson. And so when you can see that Magic Johnson in his game, going back to how he took aspects of different players' styles, you can see the Magic Johnson style in his passing game, right? You can see the Isaiah Thomas style in his ball handling and dribbling moves, or Shamrock, Shamgod, you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. He used to steal those kind of moves, and he would say it. But those things go understated when it comes to Kobe Bryant and his passing game.
Yeah, I'm not shocked or surprised at all.
I knew you wouldn't be, because you watched it. You got the chance to see it and be like, God damn, this dude's like a magician with the basketball.
Yeah, there's just, I don't know, man, there's something about certain athletes where, you know, I think the reason why he was so revered also like in his passing and also even before his passing, but during his retirement, like all that love and all that reverence that people showed him, it was because they knew that he was the one. They knew he was that guy, and they hated on him for no reason at all. And you know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, my uncle passed. But you know how when you go to a funeral and you see people crying really, really hard, those people that had that guilt, they didn't go see that person for 2 or 3 years, or they held a grudge or whatever it might be, and they're crying really hard.
Right.
And it kind of reminded me of when Kobe was going through his retirement tour. That's what it reminded me of. Like these people, they understood in their hearts, they knew in their brains that like this is that guy. He works hard. You hate him because he works at his craft. And listen, I think there were times where Kobe Bryant was socially awkward, you know, to some people who are small-minded. I think for, you know, Tiger Woods, I think for Michael Jackson, certain people, when all they've ever done was work at their craft their entire life, yeah, we owe it to them to give them an opportunity to be able to grow because of their social awkwardness, because they spent so much time perfecting that craft. But you know, he obviously, unlike the rest of those greats that I just named, but he broke out of his shell, and you know, he was a precocious kid and learned things quickly. But just something about certain entertainers or athletes where people go, I can't stand that person. And then you ask, well, why? Let me give you an example. This chick was telling me, oh, I hate Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump. And I said, can I ask you a question? I'm like, yeah, I'm listening to her. I'm agreeing with her. I said, tell me the 5 things about Donald Trump that you hate the most. What do you think her answer was, Tank?
One had to be he's racist.
That's it. That's all she could come up with.
That he was racist, yeah.
But she couldn't come up with anything else, right? And I'm like, well, yeah. Tell me 2 or 3 things about his administration that you disagree with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay for you to hate him. If you don't like him, I'm okay with that. But quit being a damn parakeet and repeating and regurgitating the same bullshit that you heard somebody else say. Have your own opinion. So tell me the things that you hate about Donald Trump. And then she couldn't do it. She was like, no, you just don't get it. No, I get it. You don't get it. But the same thing that just happens with these athletes, and Kobe Bryant just happened to have been one of those people where people go, I can't stand this guy. He's just cocky. Well, okay, well, name me a superstar player, not a star, but a superstar player that you know that doesn't have an aura of arrogance or cockiness or or supremacy,
Try to tell them.
right? And it just
I
doesn't
just tell
happen.
them.
Yeah. So
Yeah, including your favorite one.
that's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? That's what I tell them. Your favorite one. I could point
Yeah.
out the cockiness and arrogance and the great self belief and they have in themselves too, and show
Mhm.
you when they put it out there, no different than when Kobe Bryant did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and to be fair, for the record, like everybody's heard my top 5 list by now, on my top 10, and they know that like Kobe Bryant to me, he's the best player, right, in terms of skill for skill, uh, and to incorporate those skills, how they uh, translated into accomplishments. He's the best to me. For me, he's my favorite player. That's just a personal thing, right? Um, but for me, I think in terms of the whatever that word greatness, great, you know, I think that to be fair, for me to be fair, this is just me. Um, I have him in my top 5, but I have players over him because of things that they did that I felt was raise their status and greatness over him, right? And it's not many because I have him number 4 on my all time. Like I have him at number 1 as the best, right, or as my favorite.
Right.
But in terms of like quote unquote greatness, and I got to take into consideration certain accomplishments. I look at the things like he's a scoring guard, he's a shooting guard. That is his role on the team. That is his expectations of the team. And he, as great as he was, as dominant as he was when it came to all the scoring things that you pointed out, and the things that you did not, like the 9 40-point games in a row, the 4 50-point games in a row, made his own March Madness because he didn't go to college. You know what I'm saying? So he took the college news cycle away from them when it was late in their tournament. Nah, you're gonna talk about Kobe Bryant today. You know what I mean? Or when it was supposed to be talking about Super Bowls and things like that, or basketball. I mean, football playoffs, and he'll drop 60 out of nowhere, and they'd be like talking about Kobe Bryant when it was supposed to be a slow news cycle for basketball. Kobe Bryant just pop up out of nowhere, getting 50 points in 3 quarters. People forget he was doing that before he got 62 in 3 quarters. He was getting 50 points in 3 quarters, or like 45 in 2 quarters, like he did against Jordan's Wizards the last time they came to Staples Center. These are amazing feats because it takes players sometime overtime to get 40 points, and he was doing it. He's getting 40 points in 2 quarters. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, he has 2 scoring titles to Michael Jordan's 10 scoring titles. And so I got to give, I just, for my greatness all time list, I just put Michael Jordan right there, and I put Kobe Bryant the closest to him. He's at number 4. And then I got Kareem and Magic. Magic's my number 1. But, skill for skill, pound for pound, Kobe Bryant's the best. You know what I'm saying? But I always look at it like, if I'm going to start my team, I need a great point guard. They say the point guard is the most important position on the court because he's the first person to touch the ball, and he makes all the decisions, and he's supposed to be an extension of the coach. And to me, there was no better point guard than Magic Johnson. And not only that, you don't hear any negative stories about Magic Johnson as a teammate. You know what I'm saying? All the stories you hear about Magic Johnson is that he was a great teammate or he elevated his team. And if you can elevate a player like that is already great, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, like I said, prior to him being Magic Johnson coming to the Lakers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the Laker already for 4 seasons, and they couldn't get to the NBA Finals. And he only had the 1 championship that he had with Oscar Robertson at that time. But when he got with Magic Johnson, he lived in the finals. And then so I look at things a little bit differently. But with Kobe Bryant, his narrative should be, in my opinion, that he's the only player that is in the conversation of being one of the top 10 to 5 players of all time that wasn't even drafted as a top 10 pick. He wasn't even a lottery pick. He didn't even start his career as a starter. He was the guy who started his career as a spot-up shooter, then became a 6-man, and worked his way into the starting lineup and worked his way into being one of the all-time greats to ever play this basketball game. And if you don't have him in the conversation as one of your top 5 players of all time, I kind of look at you sideways because it lets me know that you're going off of the narratives that have nothing to do with what actually what we actually saw during his career. You know what I'm saying? He is hands down the greatest bench player that's ever played the game because that's what he started out as, and he worked his way into the starting lineup. He's hands down the only player in NBA history. He's the only great player in NBA history where he was one of the main pieces to the team's dynasty, if you will, the core of the team, where the dynasty imploded in on him, and then had to rise out of those ashes like the quote unquote phoenix, and get back to the mountaintop by building one brick at a time to build the kingdom up. No other player has had to do that. Not Bill Russell, not Kareem, not Magic. Magic looked like he was going to in the 1991 season, and I don't doubt that had he had another shot at Jordan's Bulls in 92 or 93, had he not caught the HIV, that he would have had those guys better prepared the next go around. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of player Magic was. That's the kind of winner he was. But he never got that opportunity, so that is what it is. Say it again.
I said the healthy players. Having
healthy players, right.
James Worthy, Byron Scott, and yeah, man, like
and himself. You know what I'm saying? Even
and himself,
you know
yeah.
So
hamstrings, and abs and hamstrings.
Exactly, bro. But Kobe Bryant is that dude that he was on top for whatever reason. You can say it was his fault. You can say whatever you want. But no player has been in the position to where it all came down on their head, and then they had to rebuild it out. Because people got to remember, they tend to change the narrative to, well, Kobe Bryant didn't win without Shaq until they got Pau Gasol. But they always forget that in 2005, when Shaq actually demanded a trade, he wasn't just traded. Kobe Bryant didn't get him traded. Shaq demanded a trade. So the only way that Kobe Bryant could have got Shaq traded is if Kobe Bryant hypnotized him into telling Mitch Kupchak to trade him. Because that's what happened. Shaq demanded a trade, right? So Kobe Bryant was without Shaq. He was without Robert Horry. He was without what's the guy named Karl Malone. He was without Gary Payton. He didn't have Derek Fisher. He didn't have Rick Fox. That entire team was no longer there that he had previously won 3 championships in a row with, including the head coach in 2005. Phil didn't come back until 2006, and they had to work their way through the ramifications of what Phil even wrote in his book before Phil was able to come back. So they had to work their way through a lot of things, and then you got to look at the talent level that the team had in the Western Conference. So like when DB says Kobe Bryant went to 7 NBA Finals, you got to multiply that when you're talking about other franchises. See, going to the NBA Finals as a Laker is different than going to the NBA Finals as another franchise. It ain't the same as going to the finals as a San Antonio Spurs or a Detroit Pistons or a Cleveland Cavalier or a Miami Heat. This is different because it is expected for you to be there as a Laker. So if you don't get to the finals as a Laker, then you ain't got us to our birthright. I'm just saying these are the expectations, right? Because like I said, the Lakers been there almost twice as many times as any other team in NBA history. You just go look it up. The only team that's been close is the Celtics. And they've only been there because they got 17, right? They got 17 championships. I think they only been there 18 or 19 times. The Lakers been there 30 plus times to the NBA Finals. This is just a fact. And when you look at the fact that that Kobe Bryant had a team that would not even be, see, they talk about the team that LeBron took to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then eventually to the NBA Finals. But that team wouldn't even made the playoffs probably in the West.
Big facts. Let me ask you this. So three things. Number one is, you know, Kobe with his maniacal workouts and his crazy work ethic that the whole world knows about. Um, and Shaq usually coming in a bit out of shape and takes his time to get into shape. So the further we get into the season, the better Shaq becomes. So remember the shortened season that the San Antonio Spurs won that title. So let's just say there was no shortened season. Let's say that the Chris Paul trade wasn't blocked by David Stern in the league, and let's say that Dale Harris didn't stifle Kobe's early growth with those first 2 years of having him come off of the bench. What kind of personal numbers, and also what do you think that would have meant for the championship run without those three things happening to his career?
What would have happened if Shaq had come in prepared? The Chris Paul trade had went through, and then what was the last part? You say the injuries?
No, not the injuries, because I know that's a big one too. But and Dale Harris didn't. You know, they said Dale Harris didn't like to play rookies, right? It's like
right. Well, one, if the Dale Harris part, that was a team thing, right? Jerry West, there are stories that some of the other teammates came out with and said that Jerry West sent down the line, let it under no certain terms, let it be known that Kobe Bryant isn't to be hazed like former rookies were hazed in back in the day. But other stories came out where it was like, nah, Brian Scott, he said that Kobe Bryant was his rookie, and I think somebody else said he was his rookie as well. And what that means is that, you know, you carry my bags, Rook, or you do this or whatever. But in terms of like hardcore hazing, they weren't allowed to do. And the players kind of was pissed off. My bad, I was reading chat. The players kind of had a thing where, because and see, there's a lot of things that go on in these locker rooms people don't know, but they used to be able to have alcohol in the locker rooms, right, after games, beer or whatever. And so when Kobe Bryant came into the league at 17 years old, then later 18, you know, in his rookie season, turned 18, that they had to cancel that out at the Lakers. You see, nowadays you have high school players, well, not now, but for a period of time, before they nixed it after the Andrew Bynum, high school players were coming out of high school into the NBA all over the place after Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett brought it back to popularity, right? After they were successful, people was like, oh, well, shit, let's go. Jermaine O'Neal, you know what I'm saying, T-Mac, and the rest of you guys, come on, let's do it. So that matters, and that all played into the Dale Harris not playing him, because he's like, well, the team don't want it either, right? The team don't like the favoritism or the fact that this little high school guy is in here as well. So that kind of stifled his maturity at that point in terms of the minutes played, right? Because they'll just be like, well, they can just make the excuse. His physical body isn't ready for the NBA. But everybody could tell that his skill set was there, and his skill set, he was able to play. And then he had the right mentality to play, all the way to the fact that when they got to the playoffs, Shaquille O'Neal himself is on record in saying that nobody, including himself, wanted to take that last shot, or those last shots, plural, against the Utah Jazz. And Kobe Bryant was the only one who was like, man, I don't know what y'all scared of. Give me the rock. I'll do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if I shoot the air ball and try again. You know what I mean? He had the mentality. And then you go fast forward to when Shaq wasn't coming into the season as in great shape as he should have. We got to understand, he still was able to, he being Kobe Bryant, was able to help that team as one of the leaders of that team win 3 championships in a row, because Shaquille O'Neal started doing that right away. It wasn't like he waited until that 2003 team to not come into shape, right? this happened right after the first championship. Phil Jackson is on record saying that Shaq came to camp late. He even came to the damn camp late because he was out of shape and doing a whole bunch of extra stuff outside of basketball. And then Shaq went on record and saying that what challenged him was the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's and the Magic Johnsons was like, that was a nice little championship y'all won last year, but can you do it again? Because he realized quickly that this is the Lakers. It's not like these other franchises. You have to do it. You have to constantly do it. You have to constantly get there. But I think that, like you were saying, the Del Harris thing, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people forget that Shaq had a chance. If Shaq was that dude, and he is that dude, right? I want to put it out there. But it takes more than just being that dude in order to win championships. And I always like to point that out because Shaq had 3 other All-Stars on his team, and he still didn't win a championship or even get to the NBA Finals when he was the best player. And unquestionably, the team was based on his production prior to Phil Jackson getting there, right? Because people always think of the end of their run together, but they never point out the beginning of their run, the 1998, the 1999 season, right? And then you fast forward until when he hurt his toe. I think that was the critical moment in after the 2002 championship when they three-peated. Shaq had that injured big toe, and the famous he hurt his toe on company time. He's going to get the surgery on company time. And so when the 2003 season began, that recovery from that surgery went well into the season. And at that time, Kobe Bryant was coming into his own, and he should have won his first MVP that season. That's when he had the 9 straight 40-point games, right? So if Shaq had got his surgery on the offseason and came into that season in shape or ready to go, I don't have no doubt that team would have been able to get to the NBA Finals and possibly be the first team since the old school Celtics to win 4 championships in a row at all. You know, Kobe Bryant, he even with all that being said, he went to the NBA Finals 7 times. And if you look at those games, right, the 2004 team that lost against the Detroit Pistons, that team had injury problems, right? Remember, they got rid of Robert Horry. Now, to me, I didn't like that whole idea, right? I didn't like the whole idea because I'm not a fan of Mitch Kupchak because I think that Mitch Kupchak too often gave up on his core squads too soon, right? Just a little too soon. As opposed to if you look at a team like a franchise like the San Antonio Spurs, who even when Ginobili didn't look so good a couple of seasons, they stuck with him. Even when Tony Parker went on a decline, they kind of stuck with him. Tim Duncan, they stuck with him until they got that other player like a Kawhi Leonard or whoever else may be. They stuck with them. With the Lakers, you know, Robert Horry misses a shot in the 2003 playoffs against the Spurs that goes in and out, and they traded him. The next year he's gone. They let him go on free agency, right? They take the nucleus of the team that was winning, that won 3 championships in a row, and said, we don't believe in y'all no more. We're gonna bring in Gary Payton. And Shaq says this is his doing, right? He said he went and got Gary Payton and Karl Malone. So this is Shaq playing management, right? Since they want to talk about selfishness and all the other kind of stuff, when they tie that to Kobe Bryant. But Shaq is the one that said that he got Nick Van Exel traded. He got Eddie Jones traded. This is Shaq saying this, right? And then he said later on, he brought in Gary Payton and Karl Malone, which means he's the one that gave them the okay to let Robert Horry go and then put Derek Fisher back on the bench for Gary Payton. So they end up going to the NBA Finals that year too, but we forget the starting power forward and the backup power forward both was injured in that finals, right? The starting power forward was Karl Malone, but people forget this dude, DB, Horace Grant. Had Horace Grant been healthy for that 2014, I think they would have beat the Pistons. But because you had to go all the way down to the 3rd string to Slava Medvedenko, that played a big role in what they wanted to do. And because once they got Shaq once they was able to front Shaq and take Shaq out of the game by double teaming him at the high post. You didn't have a power forward who can space out the floor and shoot that 15-foot jumper on a consistent basis, as well as get you your rebound, do your gritty stuff, and was a veteran basketball player. And then you fast forward to, you go through all that. It is what it is. And then, like you said, they win their 3, and then now they want to do the Chris Paul trade. Again, that was Mitch Kupchak giving up on his core team. You went after Chris Paul. That means you gave up on Derek Fisher once again. You already made that mistake. Now you over here making that mistake again. You're getting rid of Lamar Odom, and Pau Gasol was a part of that as well at first. People forget. Now, once that trade got mixed, Pau Gasol got repositioned back onto the team, and then they was able to get Dwight Howard without giving up Pau Gasol. But originally, Mitch Kupchak was about to sell the whole farm to get Chris Paul, right? And so had that happened, Kobe Bryant would have made do with it, because people don't understand that Kobe Bryant could play. Unlike, this is not a knock to this player. I'm just pointing out the difference between Kobe Bryant and this other player. Unlike LeBron James, Kobe Bryant could play off the ball. And he proved that the year they went to the NBA Finals with Gary Payton. He played off the ball and let Gary Payton do what Gary Payton do and be the Hall of Fame point guard that he is. He would have did the same thing with Chris Paul. Only Chris Paul can shoot a lot better than Gary Payton, and Chris Paul would have got everybody, because Chris Paul is a better distributor of the basketball than Gary Payton. Gary Payton was a more tenacious defender, and he was a more tenacious scorer. But in terms of just pure shooting, Chris Paul was a pure shooter, and he can distribute the ball at an elite level. That in the elite level of any point guard that can distribute the basketball. That was Chris Paul. So that would have made it easier for all the other players. What I didn't like was that you now not only did you try to give up Pau Gasol, but you was giving up you was giving up Lamar Odom and Derek Fisher, and you was going to give up Andrew Bynum to get Dwight Howard. So that was Mitch Kupchak trying to revamp the whole team when he didn't have to do anything but give these guys another chance. You brought in Matt Barnes. Give these guys another run. Give them at least one more chance to show that that they're champions. And I would have put that team up against the Heat, me personally. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. That trade didn't go through. The Lakers went into a spiral after that because of infighting amongst the administration and front office, and they lost me. So I no longer. What the kids call it, capping. I no longer cap for the Lakers, because to me, they scuttled the end of Kobe Bryant's career after that, right? They just banked up. They said, like a lot of people say, well, yeah, they paid him all that money at the end of his career. No, Kobe Bryant earned that money at the end of his career because of what Kobe Bryant did by, like I said, coming out of those ashes like the Phoenix and rebuilding that Lakers lore back up to the top and going back to 3 NBA finals in a row without Shaq, the same way he went to 3 NBA finals in a row with Shaq. That earned the Lakers organization a $3 billion deal with Spectrum. And that was because Kobe Bryant was able to deliver. Kobe Bryant took a Pau Gasol, who the league viewed as soft, and a Pau Gasol who had never won one playoff game in his illustrious career up to that point until he got with Kobe Bryant. He took that guy and turned him into Pau Gasol that we know of today. That's going to be a future Hall of Famer. See, they don't talk about that. You see, when Tracy McGrady couldn't get out the first round, when Vince Carter couldn't get out the first round, they dogged these black basketball players, right? But when Pau Gasol couldn't win one game, when he was winning 50 games in the regular season, but he couldn't win one game in the playoffs, when he got with Kobe Bryant, now all of a sudden Kobe Bryant won 2 more championships, went to 3 NBA finals in a row because of Pau Gasol. But they don't point out that Pau Gasol wasn't even winning basketball games in the NBA playoffs without Kobe Bryant. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They leave these narratives out. So we don't want to, like, and I'm saying this because, we in an era where Kwame Brown's bringing out this heat, and we can't leave this out. We can't front like, okay, if Kevin Garnett had got with the Lakers, Kobe Bryant would have went to 3 NBA finals in a row too. And most likely, he probably would have won those 3. He wouldn't have won. He wouldn't have lost against Boston in 2008 had the Lakers had Kobe Bryant and KG, because everything Pau Gasol could do, Kevin Garnett could do, but without the soft moniker. That's just a fact. Kevin Garnett is a much better defender than Pau Gasol. Just like Pau Gasol could pass, Kevin Garnett could pass. Just like Pau Gasol could shoot, Kevin Garnett could shoot. Right? But because Pau Gasol is that European guy that they love to love, he was able to benefit from the narrative, and now they gave most of the credit to him as opposed to Kobe Bryant because they love to hate Kobe Bryant. These are just facts now.
Yeah.
These are just facts.
Yeah, I also, along with Dale Harris stifling the early part of his career, along with them vetoing and outlawing that Chris Paul trade, there's also, Shaq retrospectively has heavily revered Kobe as the best player in the league, the best player on the team, the leader, and whatnot. And of course, when they had their spat, obviously he didn't echo those same sentiments at the time, but people like to give a lot of the credit, the majority of credit to Shaq. And, when Shaq was a young guy, when he was able to jump through the ceiling, when he was able to bring rims down, when he was 290 pounds before he ballooned up, Shaq had some of the greatest point guards and shooters that he played with that was able to feed him the ball during his time. He played with Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott when they were the best 2 3-point shooters in the league. He also played with Steve Kerr, and Scott Skiles was leading the NBA in assists, giving this guy the ball whenever he wanted. He played with Brian Shaw, gave him the ball whenever he wanted. He played with the youngest, highly touted young prospect in Penny Hardaway, and still was not able to be successful. So it wasn't that Kobe couldn't do it without Shaq. Shaq also, as you just mentioned too before, he needed Kobe Bryant to find the same amount of success that he found in his career. But I also agree with you about Mitch Kupchak. Mitch Kupchak is, and I have a different name that I use for him for his first name, and I changed the M to a B whenever he starts acting crazy, or call him Mitch Cupcake, because he became very soft in his older age. And like Mitch, you are a Laker. You played for the Lakers. You played with Kareem, and you played with Magic, and you played with AC Green and James Worthy and Byron Scott and Coop and Larry Drew. You play with these teams. You know what it's like to be in the trenches. You know what it's like to have a core to your team and to work with that core. And he gave up on those dudes a lot of times. And so I stopped rocking with Mitch quite a bit of time ago. But yeah, man, these are the narratives, though, that we've been speaking about for the last hour. These are those narratives, and man, we have to lay these to rest. And when making these comparisons, man, listen, there can be a bias, but there can't be what did I use before? What was the term I used? It can't be a what was the term that I used before? To make it even, I can't remember the term that I used before, but it can't be that double talk, right? What's good for the goose has to be good for the gander. If Kobe bit off of Mike, then Mike bit off of Elgin Baylor,
right?
And
Dr. J.
And Julius Erving and George Iceman Gervin, along with Jerry West, who was one of those guards that played both sides of the ball, was a point guard, a 1 and a 2, and was able to shoot from perimeter to dribble drive, as Chick Hearn would say, and be able to do it on both sides of the ball. But that was good, man. I think we had a couple of more brothers that jump in. Let me see. I think I saw Reggie come in here too a little bit.
Yeah, I saw leading Reggie's comedy. Reggie's right on point too, because that's funny. We all have that same feeling on Mitch Cupcake, and I had to. I swear to you guys, listen on the replay. I promise you guys that are listening to this live, I have never, ever, ever talked to DB about Mitch Kupchak, and we have the exact same nickname for him. We changed the check to cake, and we changed the M on that Mitch. to the beat. And those are the names that we had for him when I was talking to my bros over here, you know what I'm saying, about it. We had some choice names for a lot of players, but Mitch. And the only time it became Mitch was when Kevin Hart had that basketball husbands or whatever that thing was, and they was calling men, you know, the man B word was Mitch, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's Mitch Kupchak right there. He is a Mitch. You got that right. And that's for that same reason. Reggie Owens said he's drafting these European players and stuff like that. That's right. You know what I mean? Getting the Slava Medvedenkos and the Sasha Vujacics.
That's right.
This guy was getting these guys that wasn't panning out. Remember when Kobe Bryant was forced to play with, and all due respect to these guys, I'm just saying that at the level that you needed to win with, while Kobe Bryant still was able to be Kobe Bryant, that wasn't fair to him when other teams are putting talent around their stars, right? You got Kobe Bryant playing with the Brian Cooks, and you know, I love this guy. This is me personally. I love this guy. Jordan Farmar, right? Sasha
DJ
Vujacic,
Banga.
right? DJ Mbanga. I always put that M in there because people, or I call him DD because, you know, his real name is DDA, right? But they couldn't pronounce it. So I'll be like DJ Mbanga. People got to know. People got to know what Kobe Bryant had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Ronnie Turioff. And I love these guys. Some of these guys I love. Like I love Ronnie Turioff. I love for his heart. Even though he had to have heart surgery or whatever his rookie year. But I love Ronnie Turioff coming out of Gonzaga. I watched Jordan Farmar play in college. Like I'm not a NCAA guy. Like I don't watch him on the TV. But
where did he go to school?
Going to basketball games.
Where did he go to school?
The UCLA. UCLA for y'all people that ain't from out here. You know, we call it UCLA. We have all these different little names for our stuff out here. But you know, he went to the UCLA and we went to the Poly Pavilion and watched these guys play. I watched him play in college and was like, damn, that boy good. Like my man from Coming to America. That boy good. You know, I always knew he had something. But then again, that goes back to where Mitch Kupchak was giving up on his young talent too early, right? Just the way that Derek Fisher took over for Ron Harper. When Ron Harper started to get up in age, when they was going their first repeat, right? And Derek Fisher to me is a career backup point guard who just happened to have a strong mentality, a strong mental toughness, and can do what the coach need him to do if he's playing alongside of Kobe Bryant. But when he wasn't playing alongside Kobe Bryant, when he was playing in that other team, when he's playing for the other franchise when he left, the other two franchises, he wasn't no starting point guard.
Right.
People forget this. Derek Fisher, Kobe Bryant went to 3 NBA championships in a row with Lamar Odom, who's my favorite left-handed player. But y'all, not the people in this chat or the people on this panel, but I'm saying in general, people, y'all say is an inconsistent player, never reaches potential, underachiever. That's what y'all say about Lamar Odom. Pau Gasol, who there was a general consistency at one particular time that he was a soft player. He went to 3 NBA finals with an Andrew Bynum, who at one particular time while he was doing it, y'all call injury prone. And we can't wait to get Dwight Howard to take over his spot. That's what y'all was doing. That's what y'all was saying about these players that Kobe Bryant went to the 3 NBA finals in a row with. And most people don't even know who Josh Powell is or DDA Mbanga is. Sasa Vujacic didn't even have a career after playing with Kobe Bryant. They went to him and Farmar went to the Nets, but then they soon after ended up playing in the Euro leagues. These are who Kobe Bryant went to the NBA finals with in the Western Conference, and quiet as it's kept, with excluding Derek Fisher and Pau Gasol. This is basically the same team that was going up against the number 2, one of the top 2 teams in the West, the Phoenix Suns in 2006, 2007. So as much as they want to say Kobe Bryant was getting his ass whooped without Shaq, and he was getting eliminated in the first round of the playoffs without Shaq, y'all got to keep in mind that he actually went to 3 NBA finals in a row with basically that same team. All they did was add Pau Gasol and Derek Fisher, but that's all Kobe Bryant needed. You see, they don't spin the narrative that way, which they should have. That's the way the narrative should be. Was that
Yeah.
if you look at the roster on that 2006 and 2017, that's pretty much almost the same roster that they had in 2008. You know what I'm saying? All they did was include Powell and Derek Fisher. They changed Ronnie Turioff for Josh Powell. You know, you can say they brought in Shannon Brown, but Shannon Brown, wasn't that the same Shannon Brown that LeBron James couldn't win with in the East? They won't tell you that.
Talk to him, Tank. Talk to him.
They won't tell you these things. They'll just say, well, Kobe Bryant got Pau Gasol, and he had the Twin Towers and 2 7-footers, and that's why they won. Well, a lot of teams had 2 7-footers. They wasn't the only team that had 2 7-footers. How come they got the win? You see? They won't tell you that at that particular time, that at any given point, Kobe Bryant, there was only 2 All-Stars on the Lakers team, and that was Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. And then later on, Pau Gasol wouldn't even make the All-Star team, and it was Andrew Bynum who made the All-Star team. They won't tell you that. You see?
Yeah. He had pushed guys like Von Wafer. Remember Von Wafer? And Luke Walton and Devin George. I mean, man, this dude had to play with he had to play with it was much different. I think, let me see. I think Robert Brown said it. He said Mitch gave Kobe a bunch of G League players to run with, disrespecting more than any other superstar ever, and still elevated them guys.
Preach to him, RB. Preach to him.
Rob,
That's it right there. I try to tell these cats. Kobe Bryant won with G League players, the NBA, and they try to tell me that, well, look what LeBron James did. Look at what Allen Iverson did. I remind you guys that LeBron James and Allen Iverson eventually did have players, and they still lost with them. No shade. I love the games of these guys, but I'm trying to put in context and perspective their game versus the great Kobe Bryant's game. That's all. They are great in their own right. But last time I checked, LeBron James got a chance to play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and these guys. And they lost against who? The Dallas Mavericks. The same Dallas Mavericks.
Ray Allen, too.
The Ray Allen. But the same Dallas Mavericks team that beat the Lakers, right? And stunted them on their chance to have a second three-peat. So Kobe Bryant, in essence, he lost to the Western Conference champions those last 2 years. He lost to the Mavericks 1 year, and then the year after that, he lost to the Thunder, who also went to the NBA Finals. So it wasn't like he was just losing to some scrubs before he got injured and tore his Achilles, because that technically, for all intents and purposes, was the end of Kobe Bryant's career as we knew it. From the time Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles to that 60-point game on the last game of his career, that's all we was looking for is Kobe ever going to be able to have a Kobe Bryant-like game after that Achilles tear? And guess what? He gave it to us on his way out. That's what made that 60-point game special. Not that he had 60 points on the way out, or as they try to downplay him and disrespect the man, he took 50 shots. He took 50 shots. Yeah, he missed his first 5. So if he don't do that, isn't that a high shooting percentage on the way out?
Great shooting percentage.
You see what I'm saying? But they won't tell you the full story because the media won't tell you that the media never liked Kobe Bryant. They never really liked Kobe Bryant. So they're not going to tell his story correctly. It's up to people like myself, DB, and guys who really knew Ticket tells a story. Ticket TV tells a story accurately, right? John Sally tells a story accurately. It's up to certain people. You got to know who to listen to, who is giving this man his just due, because the media won't do it, and they won't allow people on TV to do it either, on over and over, right? They'll just have people on TV that comes in and they're Jordan worshipers or LeBron James witnesses. But when the Kobe Bryant guys come out there, they kind of just, but it's not like he won MVPs. They always go to the MVPs. You have to listen to what they say. The reason they go to the MVPs is why? Because that's a media award.
Right.
So because that's like them saying, well, we don't consider Kobe Bryant to be on the level of Michael Jordan and LeBron James because we didn't vote him MVP. That's what they're trying to say.
And they keep running back with that same same narrative of not losing in the finals. He was undefeated in the finals because they know that that's an argument that they can use against Kobe.
Right. And with LeBron James, they can say he went to a million finals in a row. Or like with Allen Iverson, they'd be like, Allen Iverson, he never had a team. Really? I believe they were squatted up in 2008 when he played for the Nuggets, when he had a young prime Carmelo Anthony and Marcus Camby and Kenyon Martin and J.R. Smith. What? Oh, y'all forgot about that. That's not my problem that y'all forget. But I remember Allen Iverson was still Allen Iverson when he played with Carmelo Anthony, and they were squatted up on that Denver Nuggets team in 2008. But Kobe
even
Bryant
before that,
is the reason that he didn't get a championship at the end of his career.
Yeah. Even before that, Tank, I remember a year where I think they had all the awards that went out, and they all went to players there. They had the Coach of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, the league's top rebounder, 3-point shooter, and I think Allen Iverson either won. I don't know if he won MVP. I think he won a scoring title that year, and the Six-Man Award, as a matter of fact. So I think they had almost either all the awards or all but one award that went there. So, I'd beg to differ when people say that he didn't have a squad. Man, he had guys that could play every position well and didn't get it done. But you don't hear that.
What they're doing is they're trying to say he didn't have a squad when Shaq was there. See, because they want to isolate people's careers the same way they isolate Martin Luther King to being in 1960. What was that? 3. When he said, "I have a dream," but they don't realize or acknowledge the fact that he lived 5 more years after that and was on a way more militant tip after that, right? It was the same thing with Allen Iverson. Well, he didn't have no squad. With Eric Snow, and he went to the finals. Yeah, but what about when he did have a squad? Who stopped him from going to the NBA Finals? Kobe Bryant and his team. They say they try to tell people, because of Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller doesn't even have a ring. Really? Last time I checked, Reggie Miller went to the NBA Finals after Michael Jordan retired in 2000. Who was it that stopped him from getting a ring? Now, they want to tell you that it was Shaquille O'Neal, but I'm here to tell y'all the truth. Kobe Bryant was injured because Jalen Rose stepped under his foot, made him twist, had a high ankle sprain, a bad injury. And Kobe Bryant missed the game. The Lakers lost. Then they came back. When Kobe Bryant came back in Game 4, and when Shaq fouled out, the guy with the bad ankle stepped up and made sure that the Lakers won that game. See, they won't tell you that. They won't tell you that he did it with a bum ankle. They won't tell you that Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal are the reasons that Reggie Miller never won the championship. Not Jordan, because he still had an opportunity after Jordan.
Man, Robert Brown knows his basketball, man. And shout out to Rob, because he also mentioned something too earlier, that a name that I forgot to add to that list, and that's the great Connie Hawkins. He's one of those above the rim swing man, wing players, 2/3/4 that can play those positions, along with Elgin Baylor and Julius Erving and the Iceman. Connie Hawkins is definitely one of those dudes. As a matter of fact, I think that Connie Hawkins and the Iceman were the 2 players that Julius Erving said that he admired the most and got some of his moves from when he was coming up. So again, what's good for the goose got to be good for the gander. If Kobe stole, then everybody stole.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Tank, before we shut it down, because I gotta get some reading in, man, before I go to bed. But top 2 Kobe moments today, because I know they may change for you like they change for me from time to time. But today, right now, top 2 Kobe moments.
Right
in game moments, of course.
In game, okay. In 2003, when he's going for his in the midst, I think it was in the midst of the 9 40-point games. It was in the midst of that. They was playing the New York Knicks. This is when the New York Knicks had like Latrell Sprewell and them dudes, Allen Houston and all these guys, right? And they was playing in New York at the Madison Square Garden. And this is the moment. This is what it is, right? So the announcers calling the game, right? They're calling the game and they're talking about who's the MVP candidates of the league this year, and they're trying to have a conversation while the game is going on back and forth. All of a sudden, Kobe Bryant just starts going off. He's going off, right? And so they like, well, Kobe Bryant is not in the conversation of league MVP. It's really this at this time they're still dogging Kobe Bryant. This is before the Colorado stuff happened. So for y'all to be like, well, yeah, but Colorado, this is before that. This is actually the season before that happened that summer. So Kobe Bryant is still hated before that even happened. And so these announcers are trying to come up with a valid reason why Kobe Bryant isn't the MVP in the midst of him having this breakout dope ass game right in front of their face. And as they talking, they start, whoa, Kobe Bryant again with a score. Oh my God. Then Kobe Bryant makes his left-handed layup in the lane, right? Like a left-handed floater off balance, like he's getting fouled. And then the guy calling the game goes, well, Kobe Bryant is actually putting his name in the bid for this MVP now. He might be the MVP. Like right in that moment, Kobe Bryant felt these motherfuckers talking their shit and put an end to it right there in that moment with that game. And I believe he ended up having like 40-some points in 3 quarters or something like that against a tough New York Knicks team. Like I said, with guys like Latrell Sprewell on that team, this is when the Knicks was still a good team back then in the early 2000s. So that's one. That's the game where I know some of y'all remember when LeBron James, they say LeBron James with no regard for human life. Well, he started saying that with Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant took Latrell Sprewell on the baseline and hit him with the patented Kobe Bryant up and under reverse dunk. And he goes, Kobe Bryant with no regard for human life. So that's when he first said it. And you could tell it was the first time because he kind of stutters in the moment of saying it. But so that'd be one. And then number 2 would be I would say the Game 7 of the 2000 Western Conference Finals. Game 7 of the 2000 Western Conference Finals. And this is why this is one of my favorite Kobe Bryant moments. In the 2000 season, you got to understand the context of what's going on here. Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal was the best team in the West. The Lakers were the best team in the West. But Shaquille O'Neal was the league MVP this year. And Shaquille O'Neal, up to this point, had not been to the NBA Finals since he got swept out of the NBA Finals versus the Orlando Magic, right? And so he had been the head of the Lakers, or the team leader of the Lakers, and he had got beaten in the playoffs by the Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs, right? Now the Spurs eliminated him in 1999, Utah Jazz in 98 before that, right? So now you at Game 7, you are at the Staples Center. You are the favorites to win, but you getting blown out. You losing by double digits and towards the end of the game. And Shaquille O'Neal didn't even, this guy that everybody say is the most dominant, it's his team. Kobe Bryant rode his coattails. This guy, he didn't even have 20 points in the game. Not even 20. That guy, the guy that say is most dominant, he couldn't even get 10 rebounds in the game. The biggest force, he could even get you 3 or multiple blocks in his game. But it was Kobe Bryant who stepped up in that Game 7, right? And he started getting his whole team involved. And because of his actions in that game, other guys started to elevate. Oh, maybe we can win this game, right? And had they lost this game, Shaq would have been remembered totally different because they wouldn't have went to the NBA Finals that year. But because Kobe Bryant stepped up and had a 20-point, 10-rebound game, it's more than that. Y'all can go check the stats. You know what I'm saying? About 7 assists or so, about 4 blocks in that game. And he's the one that stepped up in the 2000 Western Conference playoffs, or the 2000 Western Conference Finals Game 7 that led the Lakers to the position for Shaq to get his first NBA championship. That's one of the best games that Kobe Bryant had. It goes under the radar because, what happened later on, Shaq goes on to play against Rick Smits in the NBA Finals where Rick Smits had no chance to guard Shaq, and Shaq gets the MVP because he can average 100 points and 80 rebounds a game against Rick Smits.
Right. Yep.
Kobe Bryant got to chase around Reggie Miller and Hall of Famer Mark Jackson and deal with guys like Jalen Rose on the perimeter. And Shaq just got Rick Smits and the little Davis guys and Todd McCullough to deal with. So those are my two Kobe Bryant moments.
Man, yeah, those are two great moments. I went to the retirement game, to that last game, and I'll tell you what happened that day. I went to, during that time I was training for a fight, and I usually fight at 155, and I was gonna try a fight at 145, right? Against a guy who's doing pretty well right now. And I'm like, hell yeah, I want that fight. You know what I mean? So I'm like, let me see if I can make it, right? It was against a Gracie, by the way. So I'm out there running, I'm running. And one of the stupidest things that you always hear people say, like, don't ride a motorcycle or don't play basketball, like when you're getting ready for something that's big, right? So I'm running. I run from Koreatown area over to by that high school. I think they call it USC. I run around the campus like 3 times. I run back. I do like 10 and a half, 11 miles. And I come back and I'm like, dang, I passed the infamous Normandy Park where I had to give old boy the business a couple of months ago. And I'm like, man, let me just do a couple of pull-ups real quick. I do a couple of pull-ups and I see the basketball. Basketball rolls over by my foot. And instead of me just rolling the ball back to the court to give it to them, I'm like, man, I shoot the ball long 3, like almost a full court shot. I make the shot, right? Of course, I'm pretending like that, like I've been playing. I hadn't shot a basketball probably in 3 or 4 years. And I was feeling myself. And I'm like, man, what y'all playing? And it was like, oh, we just playing 21. I'm like, man, let me get in the next game. They're like, come on, we just started this one, so come on and jump in now. I get in. I go for I don't even remember what move it was, but I twist my ankle and I sprain my ankle, high ankle sprain. And I'm like, I just feel so stupid because I know I'm not supposed to be playing basketball. Ankle sprain, and I'm still trying to finish, right? Let me just go in and just finish this game, right? I didn't want to get out. Very next play, I can't move, so I turn and I bump heads with a guy. Bam! And hit the top of his head, hit me right in my nose and in my chin. And mind you, I just got finished running. I'm dehydrated. I can't eat because I'm cutting weight. And he knocked me out. His head hit me, boom, knocked me out. So now I got a concussion and I got a high sprain. Right. I'm like, damn. So anyway, so I had to hobble back about a mile to get to the house. I had no money on me. I had my water bottle. I had no water bottle. I had nothing. So I had to hobble home about a mile. So anyway, I get to the house and, you have a concussion. What they tell you to do, you don't go to sleep, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to this Laker game. So let me jump in the shower, taking a hot shower. And then I get out and the steam got me so fucked up that I sat on the bed and I fell asleep. And this was probably 2 o'clock in at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I guess I was asleep for about 4.5, 5 hours. So I opened my eyes, and the first thing that I'm not thinking about my head, I'm not thinking about my foot. I'm like, oh shit, the game. And I jumped up, and I fell back down, my ankle sprain. And I'm like, man, ain't no way I'm gonna miss this game, right? I didn't know the game was gonna be epic. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I want to be there, right? So anyway, jump in the Uber, get down to the Staples Center, and I'm watching this game, man, and holy shit. First I was like, damn, Kobe missed the first shot, he missed the second shot, he missed the third shot, he missed the fourth shot, he missed the fifth shot. I'm like, damn, this is a terrible way for Kobe to go out. I'm like, damn, it's just something's gotta happen. And sat there. I mean, you know the rest, man. It was electric in there. And I mean, fuck, everybody was there. Snoop was there, Cube was there, Adam Sandler was there, Denzel was there, Kendrick was there, I mean, everywhere you looked, there was somebody there. It was just crazy. The
Jigga,
who's who. Kanye, yeah. Shout out to Kanye for the Kobe verse, and also for that dope ass shirt he had on that day too. I mean, it was everybody there, man. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. But just that feeling that moment, it was crazy, and it was like I had to feel what Kobe felt, like all of the odds and all of the banged up and all of the injuries and everything, and I had to feel everything that he was going through, and then still had to get to the game and through the game, and that's how I felt. And that was like me having my own Mamba mentality at that moment, man. That shit was crazy to me. But that's one, and the other one was they were playing against the Golden State Warriors, and they trying to get this 8 seed. And Mike D'Antoni's the coach. The squad's all banged up, and I think the 8 out of the last 9 games, somebody had got injured. And earlier in the game, Kobe had hyperextended his knee, and he'd also came into the game with a sprained ankle. He stayed on the court every possible second until this just freaking run of the mill drive to the hoop that changed the trajectory of his career, period. He went in and that what is old boy's name? Harrison Barnes. And yeah, when he went down, I was like, damn, that was like, this was an awkward way for Kobe just to kind of melt and collapse. I'm like, man, that's it. And my pops was like, he tore something. And I'm like, nah, Pops, no. Like, I don't even want to think about that, right? And Pop's a physician. He sees stuff. He knows exactly what he's talking about. And then I could hear commentating, and they're like, yeah, it must be his Achilles. And I'm like, wow. So he goes down, and of course, we always joke in my family, we call him Coach Vitti, because Gary Vitti's been around so long. We don't call him Dr. Vitti. He's like having an extra coach out there, right? You know the game so well. We like, man, Coach Vitti out there talking to Bean, and he just all fucked up, man. He's crying, and I'm like, it really hurts, like emotionally and physically. And that moment from him walking back to the free throw line, shooting those 2 shots, and then walking off the court. My God, I can't think of a more chilling moment, like a crazier moment. Like that has to be like the top one right there, and that's like the epitome of Mamba mentality, to show that toughness like that. Remember, he already came in with a sprained ankle and hyperextended his knee in the first half, and then this happens. He was banged up and beat up, man, but he was out there trying to put the team on his back again, and yeah, he did. He started his career with free throws, two epic free throws. He beat Michael Jordan's record, I believe, with free throws, and also shot those 2 free throws, and also to end his career with that 60-point game was off of free throws. So, yeah, man, Bean, some great moments, man. Some great moments. I can't see the chat. What they saying in there? Anybody got any other moments?
Right now, I'm gonna get that real quick, but let me say this real quick. You know what? That game that you're describing, where he hit the 2 free throws and walked off, and they say that he probably would have been able to come back a little bit better from his Achilles injury had they wheelchaired him off the court or something like that, or carried him off to the locker room. But because he walked all the way to the locker room like that on that torn up, it rolled it up more into the calf. But it just shows how much of a beast he was. But that game, in that moment, that I got chills when you was bringing it back up, because when he hit those 2 free throws, that's in that moment. And like I said, you always ask my bros, man, my brothers that was around me at that time. That's when he surpassed Magic Johnson for me as my favorite player of all time. In that moment, it was up to that point, it was always Magic 1A or Magic 1 and Kobe 1A, or whatever you want to call it, right? And at that particular time, it was no longer a tie. It was no longer just slightly. It was Kobe Bryant significantly was my guy as my favorite player of all time in that moment. But yeah, let me get to this. I want to get a chat some love. Let me go back. Cameron said that would have been filthy if Kobe Bryant would have played point guard. DSFG said Wade needs to come back. Yeah, I think Wade is done, bro. His body just failed him, and that knee probably swells up every time he dribbles to even think about playing basketball. RB said it was good when he jumped in. DB said peace. He said peace back. DSD said, what do you think about Wade? He says Wade is the GOAT and can still play today. Career short, if you ask me, yeah, but his career was short because of injuries. Yeah, I think that I already touched on that. He said, I want to put Wade next to Kobe. Yeah, I think that Kobe Bryant has is a leg up on Wade, no pun intended. And Wade can attest to that. You know what I'm saying? Wade is on record saying he was chasing Kobe. And Kobe Bryant is what made him a better player when he got to play with Kobe Bryant in the 2008 Olympics. So I think he's right there. Right, I think he's behind Kobe as a third best shooting guard. I'm a huge D Wade fan, by the way. Jordan, Kobe, Iverson, and Wade. Yes, sir. Can't forget about T-Mac. T-Mac is one of my favorite players of all time. Bro, that was a talented young player who got injured before his time. That back was messing up on him too. Can't forget about Vince Carter. Vince Carter was Heat. Cam with the Flames. Y'all cooking. Yes, sir. We cooking, man. That's that DB home cooking, man. When you come in here with that Southern hospitality, Southern California, that is. Respect to the panel. Lakers always get everyone the best shot, and they have the whole NBA against them. Exactly. Paul Pierce should get appreciative more. Respect his game. That's right, DS FG. Paul Pierce is actually my favorite Celtic player of all time. Go figure. He's from the soil. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can figure that part out. That's what I was saying. Yeah, I'm telling Robert Brown. That's why people say the Lakers cheated, right? Exactly. That's why I said that, because the Lakers always had everybody against them, and then people started saying that they was cheating because they kept beating all the odds and making it to the NBA Finals regardless. So don't listen to that false narrative that they put out there that the referees helped them beat the Sacramento Kings in the 2002 Western Conference Finals, because the referees didn't make the Sacramento Kings miss the shots that they missed at the end of that Game 7. Go watch the replay and you'll see what I'm talking about. They lost that game, not the referees. Paul Pierce amongst the GOATs. Yeah. Paul Pierce next to Reggie Allen and Ray Allen. Yes, sir. No excuses. That's right. RB, Robert Brown, say facts, bro. Shaq had a stacked squad even in Orlando and should have won. Shaq was the man, but nobody had the dedication Kobe Bryant did, and that's just 100% facts. Paul Pierce amongst the GOATs. Indeed, that. I already said he's my favorite Celtic, and he is an underrated player, in my opinion. Mitch Kupchak wanted to separate himself from Jerry West and wanted credit as a team builder to get his name out there. He cost LA at least 4 championships doing some of the things he did. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? Because Jerry West was the one that built that three-peat team low key, and Mitch Kupchak was the guy that was under Jerry West when he was designing the team. And then Mitch Kupchak wanted to get his own, his own flavor in there by going to get that Gary Payton and Karl Malone team that put together. They rather have Stephen A. Smith over Paul Pierce. Wait, no, that can't be right. They rather have who's S.A. Smith over Paul Pierce. I don't know.
Hello.
Is that Stephen A. Smith? Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah, it is Stephen A. Smith. Okay, you clarify. DS said took the game back. Y'all have to give it back. Kanye voice. Salute to Paul Pierce. Eric Jenkins says, damn, Tank spitting bars. Salute to you, fam. Reggie Owens say, salute to my peoples. You already know what it is. Said, no, Gary Garnett is a go-to. Indeed that. Penny Hardaway said Robert Brown. Indeed, Penny was my dude growing up, man. Remember Lil Penny? Y'all remember that? Or was y'all too young? D Scott, yes sir. DB made a great point when he was bringing that out about how D Scott and these guys are stretching off the floor. Reggie said Mitch Kupchak was the trash GM in history. That chump stayed drafting Europeans like Sasha Bullshit. Mitch Kupchak was the West Coast Jerry Krause. Let's see, Connie Hawkins was better. Okay, we got all that. Mitch Kupchak was a B.I. itch. Let me see. Robert Brown said Mitch gave Kobe a bunch of G League players. Okay, we got all of that. Okay, I'm way far behind. Let me see. Let me catch up. Okay, the chat just jumped. Robert Brown said MJ considered Kobe on his level. That's a fact. You can't put Iverson in the same sentence as Curry. Okay, they arguing. What other NBA player put his body through gaining 20 pounds of muscle to play San Francisco because the team needed it, and then the next year went back down to shooting guards to play small forward. Okay, yeah, exactly. People don't know AI was trying to get to LA when he left Philly. Yep. Well, that's because the narrative is nobody wanted to play with Kobe Bryant, but we heard guys like AI, Kevin Garnett, Tracy McGrady, and Jason Kidd, Jermaine O'Neal all said that they wanted to play with Kobe Bryant. So he said the dunk on Kevin Garnett, I thought Kobe was going to pull his shoulder out of socket. That was the 2004 Western Conference Finals. Yes, sir. I remember that game. Remember that play, DB? That patented Kobe Bryant up and under, and he grabbed his shoulder.
Oh yeah, if you look down in the chat, 2 comments, you will see me comment on that.
You see, it's way funny. I like DB. Yep. The dunk on Kevin Garnett was the same dunk he made against Latrell Sprewell. Exactly. That's that patented up and under reverse dunk that he used to do, man. That shit was just brilliant.
As Chick Hearn would say, Tank. Chick Hearn would say he used the rim as his ally.
Yeah. Hey, I got one question on our way out. Right when I get done reading these last couple ones, I got one question, and I'm gonna give you my answer. To take into consideration AI and Denver made Denver his team. It's like Iverson never left the Sixers. Anthony and Iggy was just about the same. Yeah, playing with Iverson. So surround Kobe team. Tell him, say, yo, Allen Iverson still applies. Iverson and Kobe and Jordan in that order. Excuse me. Jordan, Kobe, Iverson in that order. Man, make up your mind, bro. You got different orders in the same person. Carmelo by himself on Denver would be same effect as Iverson on the 76ers, and both team alone have players both pulled weights. But who pulled their weight on both is Iverson. Now they all pulled their weight. That's Kobe Bryant. They just ran into Kobe Bryant with some firepower. As he said, he had a gun with some bullets in it in that 2008 season. All right, so this is my question. We always have it amongst me and the homies, and we always talk about if Kobe Bryant had a statue, what would it be? Right? If Kobe Bryant had a statue outside of Lakers, if he could just have one, what would it be? What you think, DB? I'm gonna give you mine. Oh, and
I don't know if you remember,
we always say that.
I don't know if you remember when.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I don't know if you remember, but when John Sally came through, I asked. When Michael Thompson came through, I asked, and also when Ruben Patterson came through. That I always ask that question. When I ran into Michael Cooper in Target, I asked him, and when I pulled up next to B. Scott over on what they call Obama Street now, I asked the same question to everybody, and I told you I ran into Magic at the mall, but it was too hectic, and I didn't have a chance to have a combo with him. But this is my thought. My thought is there cannot be one. We retired 2 jerseys, and this is the greatest Laker. So I think there should be 2. I think there should be a young 8 with the fro, and I think there should be, there's got to be a Froby number 8, and there's one where he's going for a dunk, and he's got both hands back, cocked back with his legs up, and he's in front of the rim, and he's super high. I'm gonna send you a photo of it.
I know what you're talking about. I remember you said it. It's the one where he's coming through and he has both his knees bent and he's cocked
Yes.
back to throw it down. Yeah, right in front of the rim,
Yes.
straight all the
Yeah.
way through. I know what you're talking about. I remember.
And then the 24, man, is tough, but God dang. I gotta give you two, Tank. I gotta give you two. There's one where when they won a championship, he's got the ball and all the confetti is coming down, and he's got the ball in his hand, like cuffed in his hand, and he got both of his arms stretched out, and he's looking towards the crowd. Okay. And
he got the baseball cap on, right? That's the one you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. The championship cap.
But the other one that has a little more feel to it, and it's got so much oomph, when he's pulling his jersey to the side to show I got heart. And he's pulling his jersey and he's showing his heart and he's banging his chest. And I think that was against the Phoenix Suns. That right
Game
there.
4.
Oh my God.
Game 4, 2006 playoff.
Yeah.
Game 4.
Yeah.
The buzzer beater at the elbow into two defenders' faces.
Man. So yeah, those were it. But yeah, I want to hear yours though. I want to hear yours.
Oh man, you're the only one that got the like a vault of Kobe Bryant memories like me, bro. Like whenever I talk to people, yeah, it's like we got the same shit. Like, yeah, remember this moment? Mm-hmm, right there. You said, look at the chat, a few comments down. That should have me cracking up over here, bro. I read that shit like, oh man, I was just thinking that. All right, so mine is this. If I had to put one, they say you're gonna get one trophy, man. That's all we got is enough rock to make one. It would be this one, and it encompasses everything. And again, y'all gotta forgive me. Kobe Bryant, I believe, is the best player in basketball history, skill, and he's my number one favorite player. And this pose encapsulates all of that. It has not. It was not a shot, a dunk, or it was more like a moment, like DB just said, with his last two, where he got the chest pulled over and the confetti running down after the fifth championship. It's a moment like that, and this is when he was walking off the court after the 81-point game, and he just holds the number one finger up in the air.
Ooh, I knew you was gonna say it. I knew you was gonna say it.
So dope. You was walking the Staples Center. All you see is Kobe Bean holding up the number one to let you know who the real number one is, and that'd be Bean. And on the back, I would have the number 8 jersey because that's the photo that we always see. They never show that from the front, right? They always show that image from the back, and it's always a number 8. He had the number 8 on the back. So on the front of that, I would have number 24 because we really don't ever see it from the front. So it wouldn't be an issue to have it number 24 because there is no photos that we can go to that say otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So I would have it like that. I have in the front it'd be number 24, and on the back it would have number 8, but you would see it with Kobe Bryant holding up the number one finger, that taped finger at the knuckle.
Ooh, damn. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. I wanted to run into to Jeannie so I can ask, because I want to ask her, like, which one are you guys gonna have there?
Yeah.
And I've heard the rumors of there being 2 statues, and
Yeah,
I want to say I wanted to say I started that as a rumor first to put it in the universe, but I think that man. Listen, they retired 2 jerseys. You know who else can say that? Who else can do that? And
What?
you know, with one franchise.
Oh,
and
2 jerseys, one franchise? Yeah. And deservedly. They can say we retire this guy's jersey, whatever, you know, and then I'm sorry, I don't mean to say Michael Jordan like he's just another guy, but you know, they can say they can retire number 45 and 23. Does number 45 really deserve to be retired? Did he do anything memorable in that jersey that requires that is Hall of Fame worthy? Because the Lakers jerseys and the Raptors are all Hall of Fame Hall of Fame achievements by each of those numbers. And Kobe Bryant is the only player that you can say did that with one franchise, which goes back to my narrative of the narrative should be he's the only player of that caliber to have the whole what do you call it? What did I call it? Yeah, what do you call it when they have multiple championships and all that? Damn, my name forgot. When they have
multiple.
when they have
Hey, for
dynasty. It's the only dynasty
dynasty.
to crumble in
Think of
his head.
franchise.
Yeah,
Dynasty.
he's the only dynasty to have he's only player of his caliber to have a dynasty crumble implode on his head while he's still in the kingdom, and then rise up out of it and have to rebuild it back up one brick at a time until he gets back to the mountaintop. He's the only one. So he deserves the two jerseys and the 2 statues. The only thing I would say about the 2 statues versus the 2 jerseys is it's a lot cheaper to put jerseys up than it is a statue.
Tank, look at the time.
But y'all got the money.
Look at the time. See what time it is?
4:13.
And you know what day that is?
4:13.
Yeah,
What's that?
that's Mamba Day. April 13th is Mamba Day.
13. Oh, April 13th. Okay.
April
What day it
13th.
is? I got you. Day of the month.
What day it
Got
is.
Yeah.
Mamba
Kobe
Day.
Bryant. Black
Yeah.
Mamba,
I
Master.
just looked at my phone. I'm like, ain't this about a blunt? Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said Kobe Bryant's blast. I mean the master Mamba only right. Yeah, salute or statue or a jump shot or a dunk. I say both. Yeah, salute to y'all in the chat, man. Salute to y'all, everybody hanging out in the boxing section, making it real, even though we turned it into Laker talk, aka Kobe Bean Bryant talk, and it was only right because you have probably the 2, probably the CEO and president of the Kobe
That's
Bryant fan club, and me and
That's
DB.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
Certain things I don't mind nerding out to, and this is one of them.
And this is one of them easily, and I could do it again tomorrow if I needed to, because as much
Talk
the man played 20 years, so it's all kind of stuff to talk about. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that mask Kobe Bryant was cool. I wouldn't do a statue of it only because, no disrespect to your opinion, that's right, and you should have it. Imagine if boxers had Kobe Bryant's heart. Oh, please. The only thing I would say is that because he didn't have it long enough, and it was only one moment with the black mask or whatever. And the shot and the dunk is too, those things are like, they're great things, but he was more than you know what I'm saying? It's hard to say. Like, that's why I love when DB have the when he gives him with the woo when he has the ball in his hand and that image of him standing on the table with all the confetti, because he had triumphed. He had went to the NBA Finals 3 times in a row with Shaq and 3 times in a row without Shaq, and went back to back again. That separates him from Tim Duncan. That separates him from Larry Bird. He was able to defend his title, and they couldn't at this point in time any longer say it was because he was doing it on Shaq's coattail. So that moment, the moment where he pulls his jersey to the side, shows his heart, and lets everybody know, man, I do this, son. You know what I mean? And then pounded on his chest. And up to that point, we never really seen Kobe Bryant get into it like that. Another one would be good is when he does it, when he flicks the jersey, flick, and almost down there rips it off. He was getting so hyped.
Yeah.
You know what I talk about?
Yeah.
So like
he hold with both of his thumbs.
Yeah,
both of his thumbs, and he's holding the jersey. Come on, man.
These are better than just any given shot or dunk. If I did have to have a dunk, it'd have to be the dunk that DB said, because he has the dunk. One of his trademark dunks is when he jumped as high as he would bend both of his knees to where his heels would touch his cheeks, right? Touch his backside. Yeah. And then his signature dunk to me was that reverse layup on that baseline. He could also do it coming straight at the basket like he did against Yao Ming one game. He just dribble, and then went straight at him and then did the reverse dunk straight ahead. But that one where he did it on the baseline, that up and under reverse move, that was like his signature dunk. Those are his 2 signature dunks. That would look good on a trophy, on a statue, but then you would have to have the court and all the extra stuff. But that one with the other ones, you can just have a statue. You know what I mean? My favorite statue outside of Staples Center is Magic Johnson.
I love that. Man, I love that.
Yeah, I love that one. They robbed Kobe of a couple of MVPs. Yeah, we're gonna have to have an MVP show and do a list of our MVP, the seasons that he should have got MVP that he didn't get MVP, because I got a lot of them, and we can do a whole show on that.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
But like DB, I got to get some reading in, like exactly reason why that moment Max Kobe is different. Plus, yeah, it hit different now because he's just a different dude. Plus, represents the time. The time today has to be 2 statues of Kobe, both sides in front of LA. Kobe of Black Mamba, Mass Kobe. Yeah, you got the Black Mamba and you got Afro Kobe. I know a lot of people now they think it's one and the same, but once upon a time they wouldn't call him the Black Mamba. Bro, we need a bronze Kobe mountain with 4 panoramic poses outside of Staples Center. Oh, RB.
Mount Covemore.
Yeah, Mount Covemore. There you go. 2 statues of Mass Kobe in front of the building, jump shot and a dunk. Oh, that's funny. But yeah,
I'm starting the petition. I'm gonna start the petition tomorrow morning.
Get the mountain. Get the mountain. We gotta see what the 4 poses would be though. But man, that's all we got, folks. It's 4 o'clock. I was trying to get on. I was trying to wait till my brother Kyle woke up. I know he's probably gonna be getting up soon. But I got to get some stuff done before I take a nap.
Yeah.
To the behind the back. The behind the back, E1K says, the behind the back spin around dunk. I think it was against Indiana. You are right. On the flashback Froby days, I used to lower the rim in the hood and try to do that shit all the time. Yes, sir. That was against Indiana Pacers. And Robert Horry threw an inbound pass all the way down the court. Kobe Bryant caught that mug, put it behind the back, and did a reverse 360 dunk. It's something that you can't even describe. You just got to see it. And then, and in the great words of
Stu Lance,
Mr. Chick Hearn, he said, "What am I seeing? What did I just see?" That's exactly
and then Stu said. And Stu said, that's Kobe doing what he does.
Kobe doing what he does, man.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness. There's so many moments, man.
So many moments. Yeah.
Peace, fam. About to close out these last 4 hours of the third shift. Shout out to the third shift. Hated I couldn't jump on, but good cook, fellas. Yes, sir. Shout out to my brother DB, a.k.a. The Majestic.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate you, brother Tank. DSFG, salute to you. And OG Robert Brown in the chat. I know E1K came in late. Salute to you, man. Reg done slid through. And there's a brother I never saw before named Tellum. Salute to you, Tellum. And I think that's it, man. Anybody else that we may have missed. But Kyle, Cam, and my brother Tank, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Love y'all brothers. And I'm going to lay it down, man.
Yes, sir. All love all the time, man. Love to all y'all. Everybody, peace. Salute to you, Cam. I know you out there, brother. I know you can hear us. Have a good one.
Catch y'all on the stand tomorrow, man.
All right, King. Yes, sir.
Out the roots, he let the beats build, bitch, and we never switch. Even if I'm rich, I'll be broke like I'm Mitch. Niggas talking down, but that's headed in the wrong direction. But I knock that shit out like the boxing section, cause they can't touch what they can't see. All I gotta do is be the same me. All I gotta do is keep it cheap, always be the same me. While I'm solid, boy, they can't change me, no.